Right. Well, we'll have a listen on our listen bands and on Talk-O-Matic as well. And we'll just open up Talk-O-Matic in case somebody's on talky.io. No one seems to be there at the moment. And we're listening on 145.3 megahertz, 145 megahertz, and 430, whatever it is, 437.8. 437.8. And if no one comes on, I suppose we'll continue on with the regularly scheduled programming. 437.8. Right, well, it doesn't seem like anyone's around about today, which is, well, I'll give it a call later on maybe. So that's the way it goes, I suppose. I think we're patched in, yes, everything seems to be patched in there. The ident's sounding a bit sicko-matic there, isn't it? Which is a bit unfortunate. Yeah. Well, no one on talkie, no one on the line, so I guess we'll go back to regularly unscheduled replays for the time being, and maybe come back about midnight or whatever. Oh, I think, hang on, I saw a thing there on VHF, so they'll be up there.
Evening.
Oh yes, hello Frank.
How are you?
Very, very good, thank you.
That's very good. Let me just turn down my... Hello. How's that?
Yeah, that's probably okay. It doesn't sound as good as the other night.
Do you want more power?
Oh yeah, maybe a little bit. I think you said you had on 20 watts the other night.
Yeah, something like that. How's that?
Yeah, that's okay. That's very nice. Yeah, very good.
Okay. Yeah. Well, now, I enjoyed the music last night.
Oh yeah, yes. The unfinished.
I thought he was back.
Oh right, yes.
But then again, I didn't think that for long because it was much too early for him to be playing that sort of music.
Yeah, look, I don't know who was playing it, but the station I heard it was very strong here. It was just playing continuous classical music. Yes.
I'm sorry. Yes, indeed. Yes. I don't know. He was strong here too.
Yes, I'm glad. Well, and I got an email from Steve, so. He was listening to it, which is good.
Good. It's lovely music. It's like Schubert. Beautiful.
That's right, yeah. It's good, and they played off old 1950s Deutsche Grammophon records.
Yeah, they were really quality performances.
They're great performances, and also the audio quality is fantastic. They're very thick, if you remember those records, very thick vinyl.
I do, they're heavy. That's right.
Yep. Heavy, and they feel like quality, and they come in that fold-out thing. And the early ones, all the titles and all the cover notes. There's a lot of them. You could read a lot about the performance and the composers, but it's all in German.
Yeah, well, it's pretty. That's right. Well, if you don't understand German, you shouldn't be worrying about it.
No, and they've got such long words.
Yes, long words.
But you can understand a few of them, but yeah, no, it was quite good. I thought, well, I mean, that person thought, what the heck? It was only on 160, of course, and it was a very nice, good night for propagation as well.
Yeah, it was.
It was interstate. It was coming through very nicely.
Was it? Oh, good.
And unlike tonight, which is terribly staticky.
Yes, it is. It's bad.
It's
but it's not worrying you at all. But being on FM, of course, helps.
Oh, it does. It does help quite a bit. Well, that's the whole thing about FM, isn't it? It's good for that type of purpose.
As for other purposes as well.
Yes. So, well, like you listen and Steve listen. What's this as well? I did it, and there would have been a few other people around the place wondering, what happened to the thing. But we didn't have the personality aspect of it.
No, but at least you kept the frequency warm.
That's right. Yes, and I've got quite a collection of those old Deutsche Grammophon records, and they're fun to play because you could play a file or a CD, but you put it on the turntable. And it plays away, and it's something, more fundamental about it. You're actually playing real music in a real groove.
Yes, well, it's just, it's back in the age when everything was better.
Yeah, I don't think it's actually better than digital, but
it's not really. But
it's got a certain sound to it.
No, we didn't have to worry about any of these digital Uzi-Wattses.
Oh, we certainly didn't. We didn't. And yeah, well, yeah, good to catch up with you on Thursday.
It was a good day, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
He was very good. He drove me home in the finish.
Excellent. Yeah, did he?
I know him from the club. I know him very well.
Oh, right, okay. He was the traffic light man, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
And did he say anything else about them?
Oh, no, we weren't talking about them. We were talking about other stuff. But,
right.
We're talking about people in the club.
Oh, yes.
And among other things. But yes, it was all to the good, and no regrets.
Yeah, no, it's quite good. And I must admit the talk was very interesting.
I thought so. I thought it was going to be boring when I heard the topic. But what can you say about traffic lights? You know, traffic lights are traffic lights are traffic lights.
Yeah.
But it was. It really was interesting. I liked his stories at the end too.
Oh yes, that's right. The stories that he shouldn't portray or whatever.
No, they're the best ones, aren't they?
They are. I suppose he's old enough, he's not involved in it anymore, so he can say what he likes.
No, he actually, later on in life, he didn't mention it, but he was fairly high up in the military.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
As I understand it, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now, look, often things put you off. There was one a few years back. It was about QSL cards. You know how much interest I'd have in QSL cards.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's just... See, I was going to say I wouldn't go. I'd always go because I just go to talk to the people if for nothing else. Because I see people there I don't see, like yourself. I don't really see them live at any other time, some of them.
Yeah, well, that's right. But this talk on QSL cards was fascinating.
Was it?
Yeah, you mustn't have been there. It was,
no, I wasn't.
Must have been one of the few you missed. It was the historic aspect and how... look, it was just really... He had a very wide range of QSL cards and how... information about QSL cards, how they came about and different countries, and just the way he presented it and the other broad-ranging aspects from the QSL cards was a really interesting talk.
Look, I was there, and it's all... The penny has dropped, and it was super interesting.
Yeah.
It was given by an elderly... I talk about elderly people.
Someone over 90.
Well, he was a man named Ken Matchett.
Ah, yes.
And Ken, I sat next to him at lunch, not that day, but another day, and he is a retired, was a retired school principal, I think, or school master anyway. Yeah. And he had this incredibly strong interest in Latin.
Ah.
So much so that in his retirement, he told me he's in the middle of translating all the Harry Potter books into Latin.
Oh, really? Well, that would have been written originally in Latin anyhow at that school.
Yeah, it was written in some mystical code originally.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I was never too good on Latin. I remember Mr. Mumbles. He used to always say things in Latin.
He did. He threw in. It makes you sound very learned, doesn't it?
It does really, and he showed us up. See, we're just down educated people here, and he went to a state school, so we aren't involved really. We haven't got that knowledge.
I did it to year 12, and I didn't do it at university. I was told initially that lawyers need to know it, but I absolutely am quite sure they don't.
Also, you learnt Latin.
Yes, up to year 12.
Right. Ah. Yeah. Well, that's very good. Yeah, I've never had any formal training in Latin at all.
Well, you can exist very well without it.
Yeah. Except, I mean, obviously, I know a few scientific names and biological names, things like that.
Yeah.
But I was never given the opportunity to learn it, which is probably good, I think.
Well, you know, there are other things that are probably more of general interest and useful things, you know.
If I was going to learn a language, I prefer to learn one that, you can go to a country and talk to people.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. I learned Latin and French, and I really preferred French because I think it's a lovely sounding language, and there was always a chance I was going to go over and talk to people who spoke it native, you know. Yeah,
and did you, how many years did you do French?
Up to year 12.
Really? And yeah, look, there's some lovely places, well, as France, of course, but French Pacific.
Yeah, the Polynesia.
I'd love to go to Polynesia, Tahiti. That's on my books.
Absolutely.
And we've been to New Caledonia. That was a nice place. And
Lovely, yeah.
they all speak French there. In the main town, what's it called anyway? You know, a few people speak a bit of English, but once you get out the country, it's Noumea, that's right. That's a fascinating town. And easy going, as you can imagine. I think everything closes down at 11 till 12, like the banks and everything, and any shops that's all closed down to their lunch.
There's usually quite a bit of amateur activity around there as well.
Yeah.
People come on and speak their French. They talk to the people in France, but they talk in English also, and of course they're pretty easy to hear from here.
Well, they would be. And look, we travel around, and look, you don't need to know their language. You just do the right thing and say a few words. And most English know a few bits. There's a few common words that can get around, and it's not so much of a problem. But you probably remember years ago in the morning, if you're DXing on medium wave, you'd hear them. New Caledonia station starting up, playing the Marseillaise and everything.
Yes, lovely stuff. Yeah, I used to listen to all that. I used to love the shortwave broadcast. I used to love their signals, you know, their signature gongs and things like that. You can get recordings of them, I think, or
right.
A lot of it's on YouTube.
Ah, yes, all those things people have put up, which is good. All the old tuning signals and everything. But yeah, the old French culture. And I think they're trying, well, they've had that, the troubles, 20, 30 years ago, bit of trying to get independence. I think they want to have independence now, but, I mean, they'd be certainly subsidised an awful lot by the French.
They're in a cleft stick, really. On the one hand, they'd like to be independent, but on the other hand, they're very economically dependent on the French.
Yeah, I mean, they had a lot of nickel, which they used to sell to... our friend up there had the nickel mine, a nickel factory.
Yes. Mr. Palmer.
Mr. Palmer, H.G. Palmer, I don't know, anyway.
That goes back a way.
It does. And, of course, I think they are related. And that went bust, and I think that it made a big difference to New Caledonia. They couldn't ship their nickel out.
Oh, really?
And they've got, it's a massive industry there. They've got whole mountains sort of dug away from nickel. But apart from that, I don't know what else they're just farms and, coconuts and cows and things for the local populace. I don't know if there's anything, apart from tourism, any other exports, really.
I think tourism would be it, they're not number one tourist attraction in the world, but they wouldn't be making a huge amount, you wouldn't think.
No, that's right. It's interesting. Most Australians would prefer to go to Fiji or whatever, and they don't even think of going to New Caledonia.
Or to Bali for some reason.
Bali, God, yeah. I mean, it's like New Caledonia. Well, it's not as close as Bali, but it's certainly it's only half the distance to Fiji.
Yeah.
And it's a big country. It's a massive island. It's very long. It's about 400 miles long, about 100 wide. So it's not
really.
It's not small.
I had no idea it was that big.
Yeah, it's quite big, and it's a sort of place where I think you can eat the food, you can drink the water, you're not going to get sick.
No, that's right. Easy going, laid back.
You're not going to get bashed.
That's right. There's virtually no crime there, I think.
No, that's right. And in this, you wouldn't want to go there when they're having when they were having that little civil war.
You just avoid those things.
But apart from that, I think it would be quite good. Never been to Bali. Apparently, the country behind the beaches and everything is quite pleasant, but it's got a bad reputation. Yeah,
I mean, I think the beaches have got a bad reputation due to the Australians.
I know. I hate it when you go to a place and all you hear is Australians.
I know.
They're terrible.
You might as well stay at home.
Yeah, that's right. And the ones that go to those places are loud and noisy.
But I think the Indonesian people, the people at Bali anyway, are softly spoken, gentle people.
They are. It's a totally different culture to the rest of Indonesia.
That's it.
Balinese, and they've got their own religions and music.
They have very interesting music. The gamelan orchestra.
Yes, that's right.
I think Steve's played some, but I've got some recordings of them.
Right.
They have a particular scale which is called the pentatonic scale.
Right.
It's a five-note scale. Other countries use it as well, but they've sort of they use that nearly all the time.
All right. Yeah, so there's interesting places to go to which are close by, but yeah, French would be a useful language. When we went to school and learnt it, no one ever said, I thought, why do you learn French? I don't know any French people. It's at the other side of the world, but it is like an international language.
Oh, very much so. It's spoken everywhere, really. But I enjoyed learning it initially because I had a very strong liking for my French teacher.
Oh, right.
She was about 24.
Oh.
And gorgeous. Anyway, that's another story, as we say.
Oh, my French teacher was about 60 and not gorgeous, and that's probably why I didn't do very well.
Well, it does help if you've got one who is, because it gives you an incentive to try very hard.
Yes, exactly right, yes. I guess now, with all electronics, you can learn a language quite easy. You just have you speak into it, it plays back, and it tells you if you've got the wrong pronunciation, and you can just... That's the problem I always find, knowing how to speak the words.
Well, it is. I learned from this lady that I was telling you about initially in primary school, and then I went to secondary school, and the people there didn't know how to pronounce it properly, and I used to...
Right.
I was very much... I used to grin and smile to myself, and I had to stop myself from laughing at some of the pronunciations, but it was very hard to understand them.
Yeah, so you were really the expert.
She taught me how not that I knew all the words or anything like that, but the words I did know, at least I knew how to pronounce them properly.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got through and it was all right. But yeah, now it's interesting with all of these translation apps too, that you can largely, it seems, get away without them for very basic communications in a country where you can speak into this machine and or into your app on your iPhone, and it will translate it and speak out in the language that you want them to hear in. Yeah,
it's a totally amazing way it works. And when we went to Nippon, I did learn some basic phrases and stuff, but I didn't have to use them because enough people know English and quite a few people can speak it reasonably well. And then, of course, everything's written in most of the signs and things are got written in English as well, and the announcements are in English as well in the trains and things, so it's quite easy. And then if you've got a problem, the guy just gets out this little thing, and you speak into it, and it speaks back to him or writes back to him, and you can sort of get some understanding. So it's just amazing. If this really develops really well, it's going to be an amazing thing as far as the international relations. People can just talk to anybody. Yeah, it'll be sort of less of the communication will be just talk to anyone anywhere about anything. That's right. Yeah. I don't know how it goes on subtle sort of. If you're trying to explain your basic philosophy of life, I don't know how you go with a translator, but it's good for basic stuff anyway. Yeah, I think you'd have to be for more subtle things to be. Some misunderstandings could happen quite quite easily, I think. Yeah, well, I think that's probably right. But for what it is, you know, it's extremely useful, and it would. Yeah. Is that someone? I've got talky up. I don't know if Mr. Newbeck. 1 2. Oh, now who's that? Hello. That's Steve. Is that Steve?
Hello.
Yes, hello. You're coming through.
Steve.
Hi, but I'm not. You're breaking up. Same old problem from a different part of the country.
I'll turn Frank's level down a bit.
Yeah,
okay.
Just come out
1 2 3 1 2 1 2.
But I've got good signal on the phone.
Okay, now just hang on a sec. What I'll do, I'll put that there. 1 2 3 4 5. Now it's. I've got a special VU meter for the Skype send level, so that should be about right.
Yes, it's sort of it's a little bit inconsistent. Went for
Is
about
it?
5 or 10 seconds. It's perfect.
Right, well,
Breaks up,
I don't know.
We'll give it a go anyhow.
Yeah, you're coming through perfectly. You're absolutely hi-fi coming down the line. So you have a word, Frank, and see how he gets you.
1, 2, 3. Hello, Steve. Steve, can you copy,
I'm
Steve?
losing you.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm losing you.
No. Well, Dave, you and Steve have a talk for a while.
Yeah. Look, I don't think he's getting any of us.
No, I think he's getting you better.
No, I'm getting fragments, I'm afraid. That's
Yeah.
the way it's happening.
Yeah.
But look, it might settle down.
I don't think.
I could try starting again.
Yeah. Well, start again and see what happens.
Sometimes works for Mr. Beck, doesn't
How
it?
about we both start again?
Okay.
Yeah. So that I don't know why that's happening. Which is he was coming through so well.
The quality was terrific, wasn't it?
Yeah, it might be just too much magnetism on Magnetic Island.
That'll be it. And it's the wrong polarisation.
Yeah, I think.
It needs to face around the other way.
Yeah.
That'll be it. It's facing north when it should be south, you see.
Yeah. Now, I'll put it back. I've got. It's that one there, isn't it? I'm just talking to myself, looking at the levels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So I'll start Talkie-O-Matic again. And I have to go to Firefox. No. And no. Talkie. T-A-L. Talkie.io. And do this. I don't know if Mr. Newbeck's coming up tonight. I didn't send him an email, but he probably assumes we'll be on unless...
He would know.
Yeah. XBANDS. So I can check it with my own phone, see if it works okay on that, because... but I'll see. We've got to join the room. And we'll wait for Steve to come on. What I'll do, I'll just do Talkie-Matic on my telephonic here and see if I'm having the same problem, because the phone's on the on Telstra, so it's totally separate to the rest of the thing.
Yeah.
And I'll just put that out. So, okay. Is that any better?
It's holding up at the moment, Dave.
Okay. Yeah, well, let's hope so. So you're on Magnetic Island?
Yes, on Magnetron Island. Yes. So it's on the veranda here. It's all very civilised. What do I say? It's a strange experience. The best thing is is some lovely walks and beautiful beaches, and you can get away from the tourists, which is good.
Right.
So, you're getting to relax it all and take things quietly.
Oh, most definitely. It's very chilled out. It's just it's a holiday for the kids mainly, and I'm doing a lot of bushwalking, and most of the island's national parks. So that's a good thing. And a lot of the beaches you can only walk to. So that's the sort of areas that I'm preferring to go to. So in essence, no, it's good. It's a nice chilled out holiday.
And you're up near Cairns earlier on.
Yes, we were in Cairns for a week, nearly a week, staying with relatives, so that was all very nice.
Did you do some trips from there?
Yeah, did some nice walks and saw the Daintree rainforest. And,
oh yes, what did you think?
Which was a thrill. I enjoy seeing some of that country is quite beautiful, but it's pretty trashed. A lot of the rainforest is gone. I think about 1% of it survives. But
did you did you go and see the reef?
Oh yes. Well, that was the big thing. Kate was on a mission to take the kids out on the reef, so we did an outer reef tour, which was quite successful. It was interesting, and saw lots of big fish and small fish and medium-sized fish and lots of colours and beautiful reef. The reef is amazing. So much diversity.
And you went in the glass-bottom boat, did you?
No, we actually all did some diving. So.
Oh, really? Oh, that's even much. I didn't do that. We went in the glass-bottom boat.
And you went to you went to Green Island, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right.
Not
that's where I went.
Green Island. You went to Green Island.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Where did you go exactly? Do you know?
This is really quite tricky, I'm sorry to say. Just repeat that, Frank, please.
Yes, do you know what part of the reef you went to? What part of the reef?
Yes, I think it was called the Opal Reef. It was about 15 k's out from Cairns.
Oh, right, that's great.
So they took us out to a sort of an outer reef area, and we just did some diving. But yeah, it was an incredible day out. It was an experience, a once in a lifetime thing, I suppose.
Did you dive yourself?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Wonderful. What I'd love to do that.
It was snorkeling. It wasn't deep sea diving. And but look, it was the coral gardens were just amazing, quite beautiful. Yeah. One thing I notice here on Magnetron Island is the bird life is just amazing. It's just in the mornings, it is such a chorus of thousands of all the tropical birds seem to sort of create this amazing song. It's incredible. I thought of you, Frank.
You're making some recordings.
Look, I should do that. I didn't bring the recorder, and I didn't bring a wireless.
What about your smartphone?
Yes, I should use that. I should try and record it with a smartphone. Now, I don't know. Did you hear the Tchaikovsky last night?
Was it good,
Frank?
And the Schubert.
Yes, I did. I heard them both. It was wonderful.
Wonderful.
I think it's the Frickse recording from about 1958 on Deutsche Grammophon.
Yeah, well, it was. I understand it was a DGG recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be it. It was a beautiful performance, wasn't it?
Oh, it was marvellous. Yes, I listened to it via the SDR, and it was a little bit of normality.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great. It was a highlight.
When I first heard it, I thought, good heavens, Steve's back, and then I realised within about a second that you wouldn't be playing that sort of music so early, so I realised then where it was coming from.
Yeah, it's good. It's a very good initiative, Dave. Thank you for that.
It was only on 160. I didn't care about 2.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to play it on 2 as well, but fair enough.
The serious people listen on 160.
We do.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And look, having that sort of music playing, it's quite relaxing, and particularly off a disc, it's playing on the turntable. It's it's got some appeal to it. And
look, I think so. Yes, this is the whole culture of playing a real heavy, thick vinyl by a turntable, and yes, it's a time-honoured tradition. You've got to honour that, I think.
It's very grounding, isn't it? Really,
it certainly is. And pretend you're Arthur Burridge from the ABC.
I used to like Arthur Burridge. He had an encyclopedic knowledge of classical music.
Yes,
and he had very good taste too.
Yes, that's right.
I was telling Frank I was going to read the cover notes, but they're all in German. So
you should have had a go.
Why not?
And it was compressed to the house, of course. But even so, there were passages where there was no modulation. You would have noticed that off the SDR.
Yes, well,
and the Audimax goes straight to The trouble is, of course, if it goes really soft, the Audimax goes to full gain plus 15 for a few seconds and decides there's nothing there and goes back to 0. And
right.
Gates off. And but
yes.
anyway.
It's sort of intelligent that way, isn't it? The Audimax.
Yes, that's right. But no, it sounded quite good on. I listened to it. It was a very good night for reception. It was quite listenable to Freeman's Reach, and it was very good.
Yeah, I just had a listen on on your local, on Paul's one.
Yeah.
But for some reason the other SDRs crashed the iPad. But
do they? Bloody Apple stuff.
I set up a link to Paul's on the thing, and that seems to open. All the others it just crashes. So
is that
there's
right?
some operating system issue there.
I threw my Apples and crap out the rubbish bin.
Yeah, I think Apple's there are issues with backwards compatibility and a lot of systems. But
I know all the Apple people will be saying, getting upset, but it's Windows and Android here really seem to work okay.
I find it good to have both, actually.
Yeah, I've got a box full of old iPhones, but they're all I don't know, they're not the latest ones. They're just hopeless, like any old technology. Well, I think Apple stuff gets old very fast. That's the problem with them.
That's always it's a business model, of course.
Yes,
So,
like
they force people to upgrade, but that's the way it works. There's quite a lot of World War II stuff on this island.
Oh,
so
yes.
I'm going to go out. There's a series of forts, so I might go up and see if I can find a 3BZ.
You might find a BZ there, rusting away in a concrete pillbox.
Well, there may even be, they might even still be operating.
They may not know that the war's finished.
That's right. Remember that story about someone? Oh, there's a story that
The Nippons, yeah.
Yes, they didn't know the war had finished.
That's right. They're still fighting.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah. It's funny. But so there's a whole lot of armaments quite close to here, so I'll go and have a look at those. And there's a big shipwreck, which I'm keen to swim out to, and it's the city of Adelaide. And it's full of trees, or full of mangroves, but it's quite spectacular.
Aren't there crocodiles and things there?
No crocs here apparently.
Right.
So that's what I think that was a part of the appeal of coming here.
Right.
So there's no crocs.
So you can actually swim.
And no stingers yet. So that's been good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you can actually swim in the water.
Oh yes. I've been in the water all day today.
You're
So I'm sort of
warm
feeling
in
a
the
bit
water?
dehydrated. Yeah, we walked. Kate and I walked. Well, the great thing is the kids are at an age now where we can just let them do whatever they want.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And which makes a huge difference, I tell you. And Kate and I walked all the way to Florence Bay, which is about a 10k walk, and we just sat on the sand and relaxed and had a swim out to a reef and looked at a whole lot of coral and meandered back, took the bus back. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I've been to Townsville, but never been to Magnetic Island.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it is very commercial. That is a turn off for me. And like, for instance, earlier on this evening, there's a nightclub down the road, and they're all singing "Still Call Australia Home," and you hear all of the tourists. And there's a sort of a yuck factor with that. And I hate being a tourist in my own country in that sense. Yeah. But look, there's a few getaway places, so it does make it a little bit more interesting. Yeah.
So. I went to Cairns about 2003, I think. We went to Fitzroy Island.
Oh, yes.
Now, it's interesting that now it's all been... Well, I went there years ago and it was undeveloped and it was quite interesting. And we went there when the kids were quite young.
That's just off Cairns, isn't it?
Yes.
Fitzroy Island.
And there was a resort there, but it was really dilapidated and cheap. So
very good.
We went over there and stayed in like a dorm thing. There's no one else there.
Good.
They had like a bit of a restaurant, a pool, and a bit of a bar. But it was obviously being run down and not staffed particularly well. And one time the power went off and they didn't have any torches and lights, so I lent them out a torch in the bar so they could sit.
Oh, very good.
And it was a really good holiday because it was almost like being on a deserted island with just a dilapidated infrastructure there. And you could walk across the island. The road with just two concrete tracks, not a proper road. I think that they have them in the tropics a lot. And over where the lighthouse was and things, and there's some older army and wartime stuff. But now, of course, they've rebuilt the resort and it cost $1 million to go there, and it wouldn't be the same really.
Oh, it'd be totally different. It'd be horrible. Yeah. Those resorts, at least we're sort of independent of that in one sense. We just hired a house for the week here.
Oh, good.
And so we're not in a resort. We're sort of out way, but I can understand. Oh, that'd be fun being a dilapidated resort. I think. Yeah,
it was quite good. We had to fix up the fan in the room. The cover of the fan had never been cleaned, so the fan's revving fast but not blowing any air. So I pulled the cover thing off and wiped all the dirt and dust off it for about 20 years, and it worked after that. But they had no one doing any work like that.
Oh, that's funny.
And there were green little geckos walking everywhere.
Yes,
you'd be seeing
a lot
them,
of those around here. Yes, geckos around. And years ago, Kate and I did a 6-day walk on Hinchinbrook Island, and that was pretty special because that's a all national park.
Yep.
And it's got some really spectacular waterfalls and things, but we had to be very careful camping away from the crocodiles.
Oh, yes.
Very much so.
And then we spent a few days on Gould Island, which is next to Hinchinbrook. So we spent about 2 weeks, I think, up in that part of the world. So we drove past it coming back here, because we hired a car to get ourselves back to Townsville. And we had a look. You could see Hinchinbrook. It's so spectacular. I'd forgotten how beautiful it is. It's this amazing, looming 1,000-foot mountain just sort of off the coast.
And
It's a
I
great
can hear
Hear that curlew in the background, Steve?
Yes, that's right. Yes, we're certainly in the tropics.
Oh,
It's about 25 degrees out here.
Oh,
And I'm up on the upstairs veranda of the house, but I'm very conscious that because I've got headphones on, I often speak louder.
Oh, yes,
So I've got to try and not wake anybody up.
And what
It's all
about,
fairly closely confined.
had
Sorry?
any confrontations with cosways, the causeway bird?
Oh, the cassowaries.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think these birds are very partial to me talking on the mission somehow. No confrontations. No, it's all been very, very civilised. Yes, we had to stop a couple of times in the car while they crossed the road. Some cassowaries. What else have we seen? I saw a tree kangaroo the other day at Eacham Lake. That was interesting. I hadn't seen one of them before. And what else? Lots of geckos and sort of
Insects?
Look, do you know what? There's no insects here. There's no fly. There's a rat right in front of me. A possum and a rat. You look at them, two of them, running ahead. Okay, so yeah, I haven't been out here. No, I should go for a walk down the beach. Look, I'll take this down the beach.
Yeah.
Because it's holding up quite well now.
Yeah.
I'll be out of this precinct, and I'm less likely to interfere with anyone.
How far have you got to go to the beach?
Oh, it's about 2 minutes. It's really close.
Beautiful.
Now,
So,
I'll just go inside for 2 minutes and you talk to Steve, Frank, and I'll be back shortly.
Right.
yeah. So how have you been, Frank?
Yeah, I've been pretty well. Yes, pretty well.
Oh, that's good.
We had a good luncheon on Thursday, the old timers.
Oh, yes, that's right. That happens on a Thursday, doesn't it?
Talk on traffic lights, which, believe it or not, was very interesting.
Okay.
From Mark, OHM. Do you know VK3ASE?
Oh, yes. I've never met him. Whoops. It's climbing down the steps.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Mark OHM. Very good. Okay, so you gave a talk and you have a lunch, don't you?
We have a good three-course lunch. It's,
very good.
Very enjoyable. And I love those days because I get to talk to people live that I don't know, including Dave, really.
Oh, good. Was Anthony there?
Yes, he was there, and Mr. Egg was there. I didn't actually see them, and they didn't want to go back to Dave, so we didn't do that.
Okay.
There was this, I heard after the lunch finished and everyone was sort of backing up, somebody started playing the piano. There's a piano in this room.
Oh, yeah.
Magnificently.
Okay.
And I
live?
It was alive. It was,
right.
It was the wife of one of the old-time people.
Well, that sounds good.
Apparently she does recitals and she's a teacher.
Okay.
And her husband's name is Ivan Brown. I don't know, and I think her name is Judith. I think.
Okay.
Anyway, she's made a good number of recordings and she's done recitals and she's done all sorts of things. She's just playing magnificently from memory. She played some of the Bach French suites. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, and she played quite a lot of Chopin. She played the heroic Polonaise,
Okay, so she was just doing this in the background while people were...
Just all to herself, and of course, most of the people had gone.
Right.
And I was obviously very struck with all of this.
That's great.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
She wasn't just good, she was terrific,
Wow, how about that? That's fantastic. So did you get to speak to her afterwards?
Yeah, very briefly. But they're going to send me, she's made a good number of CDs apparently, and they're going to send me one.
goodness me.
So
Okay.
that was a huge highlight for me, you know.
Well, that's tremendous. Okay. Very good. I'd love to hear the Bach French suites.
I know. Well, when I get the CD, you shall. Well, depending on what they send me.
I remember arranging quite a few movements in the Bach French suites for flute and cello when Kate and I used to do. We used to play quite a bit, and some of the movements lent themselves really well for arrangements. Yeah.
Or a duet, anyway.
Yeah, for a duet. So we used to have a thing where we played, just did a bit of corporate work and stuff like that, and parties and.
Wonderful. And I don't suppose there are any recordings of it, if you're doing it.
I found, yeah, there probably are, but I'm not going to go into my DAT archive.
All right.
Probably is, but no, we did a few things years ago. But I remember playing around with the French suites and finding movements which worked, and it's exquisite music. It's wonderful.
It's exquisite music, and the English suites just as good.
Yeah, yes, and the English suites too are marvellous. So how about the Chopin? What did she play?
She played the heroic Polonaise. You know,
Did she?
Oh,
wow. How about that? That's great.
Incredible stuff. And,
yeah.
But just playing it so brilliantly.
Good.
She has a daughter who's a concert pianist in Switzerland, apparently.
Oh, goodness me.
I know.
I wonder if I've heard of her.
I think it's quite likely you have. I can't tell you her name, except that I think it's Judith, and her husband is Ivan Brown, VK3ASE.
Okay. All right. Sure. Well, I'll have to.
We'll certainly be following up. I've got their address.
Sure. I'll look out for her and find out what she's been doing.
Yeah,
She's going to
that's
send us some
right.
CDs.
That's right. Well, I told her about my my musical career and my training, which didn't take very long.
No, it's good.
And I told her, that's all right. I told her that I'd done musical perception, 7th grade musical perception, and she said, "Oh yes, I taught that."
Really?
So, yeah. So I think she's a woman of mature years, as you would imagine.
Yeah, sure. Okay, fair enough. Well, that's a really nice story. It would have added a lot to the culture of the evening, anyhow.
Oh, it certainly. Well, it's at lunchtime actually.
Yeah, for the lunchtime.
But it certainly it was an unexpected highlight. Yeah, it certainly was.
Okay. Yeah, I'm almost on the beach now.
You're getting a little wind noise.
Yeah, we can hear the wind. I'm back again.
Okay, I have to find a spot away from the wind. It's a little bit blowy here.
Yeah. So apparently they've got in their house. They've got three Steinways or something.
They've got two.
Really?
I didn't say they've got two grand pianos, including one Steinway, and she's got a harpsichord.
Does she? Okay. Oh, very good.
Did you get her name, Dave?
No, I didn't. But you can look if you know his call sign. You can look her up, I suppose.
Well, look him up.
Yeah, I suppose.
VK3ASE is his name. His call.
Okay.
Now, what can you see from the beach? The lights of Townsville?
Oh, well, I'm on the beach now.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody else here actually. I'm on my lonesome. It's all spotlit, the back part of the beach. But I'm just walking down to the sand now to the water's edge, and I hope there are no crocodiles here. I don't think there are.
If you scream, we'll have to send a...
Yeah, that's right. You'll be able to alert the authorities and say that, it's happened. But it's quite spectacular.
Yeah, so...
Very warm and a very beautiful night. In fact, it's a very starry night.
Yeah. It's the tropics are a totally different thing. I find them a bit hot and stifling, but it's a different world, isn't it? So it's a lively... It just seems like the temperate zones seem rather dead compared to it.
Yes, it is. It's a very different feel. I physically find it. I'm not adjusted to it. I find the walking really hard, and I exhaust really quickly. I'm having to drink a huge amount of water, and especially there's a lot of climbing. It's a very mountainous island,
right?
And the walks are quite full on. I mean, I'm finding myself struggling to get up the hills.
You did 5k up and 5k back today, is it right?
Oh, yeah, it was about 10k's, I think.
That's a lot of walking.
Oh, it's amount of. I should be able to handle it, but I found that I was pretty tired.
Yeah, I was there in early September 5 years ago. I was in Cairns, and for 10 days was staying at my cousin's, and it was just starting to get a bit humid, uncomfortably humid for me.
Sure.
And he said that, from then on, and this is about 3 weeks earlier than you're there, it's starting to get quite hard for Victorians.
Yeah,
Look,
sure.
I just find walking in the tropics, I just hate it. I prefer walking in the freezing cold. But I'm looking at Google Earth now, and it's basically 3/4 of the island's just rainforest or something, is it?
Yes, it is. I'm on Alma Bay right now.
Okay. So where's that in relation to the...
It's near Nelly Bay.
I see Nelly Bay.
So you just keep going, and what is it? Because the island's side on to the mainland, so is it west or east?
Towards Picnic Bay?
Yeah, no, the other way.
Okay, Arcadia or something it's called.
Yes, I'm in Arcadia, and Alma Bay's in Arcadia. Yeah,
okay.
That's right.
Oh, right.
So that's the spot.
That looks it looks very rural.
Yeah, it is mostly national parks, so that's a good thing. And the trails are, are reasonably well defined, and there are a few people out. I mean, there's a lot of people here, but it's just the way it is with these islands. They're all overdrained. But
I see Alma Bay now.
I know what to say about the tropics. Another time we went up and stayed for 2 months up at Nhulunbuy Cove, and we travelled up and did the Larapinta Trail, then the Catherine Gorge, Edith Falls Walk, and then stayed at Nhulunbuy for, I think we were there for a month, and that was during the wet season, and it was just incredible. It was so hot, and it was really hard we really couldn't do much at all. And I just took on a menial job because we had some friends who were medicos there, and they were working there, so we had free accommodation, and I just wanted to hang out and see what Nhulunbuy was like. And so we did quite a few 4-wheel drive trips out into the dunes and out into the the Aboriginal areas and stuff, and that was all quite interesting. But I just remember that wet, this unrelenting rain in the wet season. It was full on.
Yeah, we're going to Darwin just not for long. In October 18th or something.
Oh, okay. Oh, good.
Anne's got something on up there, so I'll go with her and spend a few days. I haven't been there since 2003, I think.
I'd love to go to.
Yeah, okay.
Look, it's an interesting place. It's I haven't been there for a while. First time I went there was 1972, pre the cyclone.
Right,
and,
you were there before the cyclone.
Yeah, I drove around Australia, and I stayed in Darwin for a while. Stayed at a hippie commune thing, and I think I've told that story on the air. But I'm looking at, it's Alma Bay you're at, is it?
Yes, Alma Bay.
Okay, yeah. I'm looking at it now on Google Things. So you've just walked, your house is the other side of Amrad Road or whatever.
It's very nearby. It's in a road called Reuben Avenue or something.
Yeah, I see Reuben. Oh, look, I can look on your house. So you
can.
Isn't it?
You can see me there.
It's very clear.
It's a big house because we had to find a house that accommodated 7 of us, and so it's the one with the pool.
I see a pool. Yep.
Yes, that's the place. That's where we're staying.
That's your little place.
It's pretty run down, I have to say. So it's which is sort of good, and it's very cheap, and inside it needs a lot of work. So that sort of suits my style of and it's not too slick. So that's where we've been for about 4 days now, and then we stay there until middle of next week, I think, until Thursday or something, Wednesday, Thursday. Wow. And then we meander back. Actually, we're going to fly out from Townsville. Yeah.
I'd never thought of Magnetic Island as a holiday location, but it's if you can swim there, because a lot of the tropics you can't, which is a problem.
You can't. That's the problem. You can't. And that was a big factor when Kate organised. I have to say, she's completely organised this holiday. I wasn't going to come. I was sort of a bit against it all, but I'm happy to be here now. But yeah, so she was looking at beaches where you could swim without stingers at this time, and so this is one of the few places where you can, sufficiently south. See, you can't swim in any of the Cairns beaches because there's crocs everywhere.
Yeah.
And because they're a protected species, they can't be. Because they're protected, they're sort of everywhere. So they're multiplied, and there's this crocs apparently just
when I went
get away from them
around Australia in '72 and stayed at Cairns and Darwin.
Yeah.
I didn't know about crocs. I had to swim in the beaches. I camped on riverbanks. Of course, there weren't many crocs around. They're like almost rare.
Well, yeah, I think, but they were almost wiped out then. And it's only in the last 10, 15 years that it was becoming a problem when we did our trip up here, or up north, our trips up north in the early 2000s or late 1990s. And apparently they're just in plague proportions now.
I know. Now they're
it's only
wiping
since
us
they
out.
become, yes, well they're omnipresent.
They've been known to come out of the water out chase people.
Oh, they do. They can.
I to be honest, we didn't even see any. But we didn't get that close to the water's edge or to the estuaries to test.
So there's Picnic Bay, Nellie Bay, Arcadia, Florence Bay, and
Florence Bay is where I hung out for most of today, and that was very nice. Arthur Bay. So yeah, it was good. It's a bit of a walk there. There is a road that goes nearby, but we haven't got transport, so we just walked or take the bus. But we chose to walk from here, so that's the way we got there today.
When we were on Fitzroy Island, there was a beach. You can swim on the beaches there, that old rocky sort of beaches, a bit like something you'd see in, Wilson's Prom, but tropical.
Oh yes, yes,
and we'd spend days at the beach. We'd walk about 2 miles from the place and stay there, wait for the tropical sun to set down behind the mountains behind Cairns, and walk back. It was really quite nice.
Oh yes, yeah, good.
And look, Magnetic looks like a good place, and it's easy enough to get there from Cairns.
Well, it's very straightforward. It's only a 20-minute ferry from Townsville.
Really?
So it's really close. It's only 10 kilometres away. So from the mainland, and it's incredibly mountainous. I just had no idea. And it does resemble Wilson's Prom very much. The way the headlands are really sort of pronounced, and
yeah, it looks like it here on Google Earth.
Yeah. So there's a big hill in the middle of the island, which is I don't know if you can climb it actually, but to be honest, after today, I'll be a bit more circumspect about doing
it's just too hot.
walks. It's just warm all the time.
Are there many people live there?
Oh yeah. There's a police car coming up. Ask me. Yeah. No, look, there is a substantial population here. There'd be probably a couple of thousand people on the island, all told, and 3 small settlements. And so, yes, there is certainly a presence. It's not by any means a tropical...
it's quite big. It's
Yeah.
It's sizable. It's probably 10 kilometres, not 15 kilometres, 20 kilometres long.
Yeah, it's quite big. And it's when I was in Townsville in 1972, I went up that the lookout, the what's it called, the hill in the middle of a town, Townsville.
Oh yes, yeah, in Townsville. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I spent the night up there in the car, and I DX'd, and I was able to hear all the American West Coast AM stations on the vibrator car receivers in the car.
Oh, very good.
Oh, that's amazing.
Castle Hill Lookout.
Castle Hill, right.
And there's a booth up there with all 1,000,000 antennas, like old aircraft and whatever antennas poking.
I think I could see it as we drove in.
Yeah. In fact, I think one of my YouTube silly crossband things has a photo of that on it.
Okay, I'll have to look that up. Very good.
But look, it sounds like a fantastic place.
Yeah, I should have bought some wireless gear, because I could have easily just thrown a wire up into one of these palm trees and have a coconut fall on me.
But you just hear static and crash bang.
Well, it's probably true. And I'd have to get it right away from the civilization too. It's probably full of QRM.
You'd be all right on HF, probably, on 20 metres and that sort of thing.
I did take Seavers up to Cairns when we went to the recently to the eclipse in 2012 at the Sanjian, and I could hear 160 and 80 up there on the missions on the replay. And in New Caledonia I could hear it, and also in Fiji I could hear it quite well.
Very good.
Okay, that's interesting.
When I went to
was
Fiji,
aware that you could hear it from New Caledonia, but from Cairns as well. That's great.
And you could hear. In Fiji it was a time when the something happened to the thing, and it just kept playing 10 seconds of one replay continuously.
Yes, that's right. I remember that on cyclic redundancy mode. It just kept repeating over and over. Yeah.
But look, it is quite good listening up there, and it's just, why is the tropics so hot? I don't know. I guess you get used to it.
I don't know. It's warm. I haven't climatised to it fully yet.
How could you do it?
It's about 22 at night and about 28 during the day most days.
How could you do like a physical labour job? I don't know how it would be possible.
I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people... You'd have to... I don't know. You'd have to develop a particular resilience, I think.
If you talk to the locals, I wondered this when I was in Cairns, and I kept asking people how. A lot of them were expat Victorians who'd come up there to retire and die, and they were out gardening and maintained quite extensive garden, which would have taken a lot of work, and yet they said no. You eventually get used to it. And my cousin was Melbourne-height, but he was quite used to it. He said you just acclimatise. No, I mean not everyone does, but they said some people leave because they can't handle it. But over time you do.
Yeah, I guess you would. It's good you've gone up there. It's got cold spell here again, and I'd like it a bit warmer here, really. But I
suppose like all things, you can just adjust in time. But the thing you've got to watch out for is keeping hydrated. You've got to drink lots of water. Otherwise, all our kids have had headaches, and I'm sure it's to do with the
hydration
levels and things.
Yeah, what I found I used to go to Brisbane twice a year, because Kathy's from Brisbane. We used to go to see the in-laws, and as the kids were growing up especially, and we'd go in the winter, which was fine, of course. In the summer, in my younger days, I found it quite easy to cope, but as the years went on, I found it harder and harder, even in Brisbane. The Brisbane summers can be pretty innovating, and Cairns would be sort of 3 times as bad. Yeah,
Brisbane. Brisbane's lovely in the winter, but summer can be pretty bad.
It can.
Very humid. But look, if you live in it, when we were up last time, we visited some relatives, long-distance relatives from Anne's, and they had one of these typical old-fashioned tropical houses on stilts.
Wow.
Kathy's
those Queensland houses.
They're very practical, aren't they?
And the windows would
all along the verandas.
Yeah, and they're like louvers, so you get the breeze.
Yeah.
And it didn't need any air conditioning. It was just really quite nice. You just sat in there.
And
I'm quite partial to those houses.
They're very often built in a position such that they catch the afternoon breezes that come through.
Yeah. And you feel part of the atmosphere, and you can hear the birds and things outside. People who just go up there and live in an air-conditioned unit, it'd be hell, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, it's not the way to do it at all. You might as well just stay home.
Yep, you'd never acclimatise.
You live in a vacuum, I know. But those Queensland houses are fantastic. I was hoping that we'd be staying in one of those here. There's still a few here. There's quite a lot of fibro 50s houses still here, which is good. But that would be very good.
I'd love to build a Queensland house here, because if we're going to get super global warming and the Earth extinction, well, at least I could
be on stilts.
I could enjoy it in Carnegie. Have a Queensland house.
You'd have a bit of a head start against the rising tide, wouldn't you?
I would go quite high, and then with the everyone else is sweltering in their little houses and no power for the air conditioners, I'd be just sitting there with windows pointing the air into me. You could do a Noah's
Ark and cut loose and go for
float off. And of course, then you can put all your junk under the house. How would it be if you had a Queensland house?
Oh, yeah, my father-in-law had enormous stuff there. just amazing. And
Unlimited.
And under the house, in the heat of the day, under the house is the best place to be.
Yeah.
He used to go under there, and he'd get a cold beer, and he'd invite me under.
Having a junk repository under the house is very attractive.
And they always have an old fridge there with beer in it.
That's right.
4X.
But just to get the breezes, and in the afternoon, almost always, they got this lovely breeze.
Yep.
And again, under the house was the place to be, you know.
Yeah.
I think if you live in places like that, you have to have appropriate accommodation that, it suits it.
You do.
Yeah.
You see in Brisbane and Townsville and Cairns, just brick flats like you see here. They just stifle boxes.
That'd be useless, really.
Yeah. I like that shanty town look of the Queenslander houses.
Oh, yes.
They're all sort of old and higgledy-piggledy and falling down, but they look fantastic.
They're inside-out houses, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, absolutely.
The beams are on the outside of the walls.
Yeah, so they don't worry about that.
That's right. Because there's only one layer. You don't need insulation.
When we're staying with our bellies up in Cairns, I said the one thing I want to see is a street full of traditional Queenslander houses without just that aspect. So they took me down a few streets. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It's great. I think you could just as you say, having the walls on the outside.
Oh, look, it's something about those sort of places, isn't there? There's sort of the continuous heat.
Yes.
The trouble is, it's all much the same apart from the tropical storm. We sort of have more weather here. But
storms are quite exciting sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, look, I like Cairns and that area. And town. I haven't really stayed in Townsville that long. It's a bit too big for me. It's a bit like a big city, isn't it?
Cairns is very developed. It's very gentrified.
Yeah.
It's not like I was there in 1977 as a kid, and not that you remember much as a child, but it's certainly it's a modern, fast-moving city with high-rise buildings and things. It's nothing like what I'd imagined it to be.
It's in 1972. It was still, there's a bit less developed. My best photo I've ever taken is one of Cairns from the top of the hills.
Oh, really?
I was staying. I went to Cairns, and I stayed at some person I'd met once or twice, some friend of my brother's. And I knocked on you do this when you're 18 and 19 driving around the country. I knocked on the door. I'm, Dave, Neil's brother. And I said, oh, yeah. I said, oh, yeah. And he said, you probably put me up. That's what I said.
Oh, fantastic.
I said, oh, well, okay.
Okay, but they're sort of chilled out enough to do that there. It's sort of
They're very laid back, aren't they?
They were.
Attitude.
And I had this house and there was no fences. Everyone didn't bother about fences. This sort of suburb, and behind it was all the hills that I think they were built up now, but this had all tropical rainforest.
Right.
And I think I stayed there about 2 weeks until I thought maybe I shouldn't stay here any longer. Anyway, so I went up. I think they were saying, going anywhere else, going across up to, Cooktown or across the Northern Territory. Or what are your plans? I said, I haven't quite worked out yet. Anyway, I'd walk up.
Have to formulate them quite quickly at that point.
I walked up these hills and along this ridge, and you could look over. It was quite fascinating, and the sounds of the birds was amazing.
It is amazing. In the mornings.
That's the thing that's captivated me the most is the chorus effect of the. So much.
One of the best ones is the bird called the butcher bird.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
They are absolutely. And the curlew it's a very mournful cry. The curlew. It's very. At one level it's kind of depressing, but it's beautiful.
It's also. The more the northern birds have come down to the suburbs. I know that a lot of the sounds you used to hear when I did these trips 100 years ago have actually, you start to hear those birds around here now.
Yes, I think I've heard curlews down here.
Yeah, which is quite nice.
It is. Especially as some of the English birds that used to be here seem to have gone.
Which is good. We don't like it. They can stay in there. They can stay in the moors of Lakeland or wherever. But when you get back, you'll be pining for the tropics.
Oh, no. Look, I've got some wobblies hopping around me now.
Oh, how's that?
Yeah, and a little potterooey thing. I think, or is it it's a very small. It's tiny little kangaroo. It's about 1 foot high.
Yeah, I think they're potoroos, yeah.
Potoroos, yes.
You're taking a lot of photos, Steve?
Yeah, I have taken quite a few pics. Yeah, mainly sort of family-related stuff.
Oh, yeah, no, it's great. It's excellent.
But, just capturing the moment, I suppose. But, there's quite a few. Here they are. Potoroos. There's 1, 2, 3. Now, what do the most people do? Just retired on the island, or what? I think so. I think it's mainly a tourist haven. I spoke to some people from Townsville, and they don't even come here.
Really?
So, yeah, I think that's the usual case, isn't it? You don't go to your local touristic things. But, look, it's a tourism island. But it's probably more ecotourism because of the national parks and that interest. Yeah. So you see a lot of international people, like a lot of German tourists and German, Austrian, Swiss, and they like to do the walks. So, it attracts that sort of fraternity. It's no high-rise here, which is nice. There's a couple of resorts down on Nelly Bay where the ferry comes in. There's only one supermarket on the whole island. So really, it's quite low-key. I'd imagine it's probably the most low-key of these types of islands. I remember when an earlier trip, when we were doing all that walking on Hinchinbrook, we also spent a week hanging out on the Great Keppel, on the Whitsunday Islands. Yep. And a lot of those were just horribly developed. We just chartered a boat, we just got in touch with fishermen to drop us on different islands, and we did that for about a week.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, well, one was really good. I can't remember the name of it. It was a tiny little island which just had enough room for a few palm trees and a beach right round it, and our tent.
An idyllic island.
It was a perfect. It was a quintessential, classic desert island experience.
Was there water there?
No, we had to take our own water. And we hung out there for a couple of days, and we had this huge thunderstorm while we were on the island.
Yeah, they get them, don't they?
It was incredible. We felt so, you really feel vulnerable.
Very exposed, totally, yeah.
Yeah, if your tent was blowing away, you'd have to
the tent was there, and the storm was wild. We sort of parked it under, there's a little pocket of mangroves in one corner, so we sort of set it up. But, that was an experience. But look, most of the Whitsundays are just horribly developed, and I just can't stand that sort of
over commercialisation.
It's unbridled development. That's the thing. That's one of the things I just don't like about Queensland. There's been very little regulation or very little. It's just whoever can pay off the right government minister.
Exactly right.
The development, like Victoria, is actually undeveloped state. You look at the coast of Victoria, maybe the lawns a bit that way, but that's about all.
Yeah, that's right.
New South Wales, north of Caloundra, all that, there's this high rise goes for miles and miles, and you've got the Gold Coast. It's we live in a little undeveloped place, really. Yeah,
I think you're right, and I certainly noticed that up far north here as well. It's not evenly developed, it's not appropriately developed. Like for instance, the Daintree, the rainforest areas. I mean, the rainforest is just something so special. It's wonderful country.
It's just brilliant, isn't it?
It is. It's just so full of life, and everything's breathing and moving, and it's so invigorating. Yet they're just little pockets around waterfalls usually, and the Atherton tableland is basically all being cleared.
Yeah, isn't it? It would have been fantastic 100, 200 years ago.
It would have been this vast. It would have been like the Amazon.
It would have. Yeah.
The Amazon's going west now too.
That's right, being cut down.
Yeah, it is. But so you drive around and you visit one waterfall, and it's just paradise, and then it's as if someone's put a fence around it, and then there's this dead country, and really degraded country, and then there's another waterfall or another little pocket, and you look on the map, it's just checkered with this pockmarks of little valleys of rainforest, whereas it would have been far more continuous and much more cohesive, I suppose. But that's what happens. It's just bad development.
Did you go to Missions Beach?
Missions Beach? Not this time. I went there in 1977. In fact, we were running a bit late with the hire car to get it back, and I wanted to go to Missions Beach. Oh. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Next time.
It's interesting because people think that the whole of Cape York is one big rainforest. It's not. It's just crapland. There's only a few little parts that have got any forest on them.
Is that right?
Yep. it's just like a desert area, really. Station country. It's pretty dry, except some of the on the east coast there, around Daintree and up Lockhart River, all around there. There's a bit of rainforest, but it's pretty. It's not like people think it is.
No, exactly, and I think only about 1% of the rainforest is extant from what it was pre-development. Yeah. But that's the way it goes, I suppose. That's what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I sort of always characterise Queensland as being an overdeveloped.
It's very hard to.
Certainly along the coast, it is.
Along the coast, it's very hard to just camp anywhere without having problems.
Yeah, I gather that, and it just has that sort of feeling of rampart opportunism and stuff. But I knew that was the case.
Well, of course, they're ruining the beaches down, certainly along the Gold Coast, because they've built so close to the edge.
Yeah,
the high rises.
Right, the high rises.
The shadow, is just it's just wrecking the whole thing.
And even even Sydney, around Sydney, north and south of Sydney, the development's incredible compared to Melbourne. We live in a little backwater, which is good, and I think it should stay that way. And Hobart's sort of even more of a backwater.
It is, but nice, but very nice.
Yes. Oh, Hobart's charming.
It is indeed.
I think it's got a lot of character and a lot of its heritage is preserved. Yeah. Brisbane lost a lot of its heritage, a lot of its, significant historic buildings and things were lost in Brisbane. It's sort of lost its charm, I think.
Although it's not. Look, I didn't like it, but it's not. I've spent a bit of time there recently. It's not bad. It's there's a lot of bushland outside of Brisbane a bit.
Yeah, sure. You're out of town there. Yeah.
In the hinterland, there's quite a lot.
Well, not that far,
Well, I mean, it's 30 or 40 miles.
Oh, even less.
Even less,
There's the big Brisbane National Park. It comes right in it goes from Mount Cootha right out.
Does it? I've never been there.
And, you can live, it's like 10k from the city and sort of be in semi-bushland.
Okay.
And then walk out to other stuff. It's more spotty development than, say, Melbourne, just a big mash of just crap concrete for 100,000 miles.
Yeah.
So, and it's got a bit to offer, and I think it has improved a bit too in the last few years.
Okay, I've never looked that further afield in Brisbane.
House prices are relatively cheap compared with Melbourne.
Yeah, I house sat up there for 2008 for a few weeks, and it was I hadn't realised. Didn't think Brisbane was that great, but it wasn't. I was quite surprised. It was actually quite a nice city.
We went up there and stayed for a longer time during the Expo in in '88, I think it was, and that produced a whole raft of building activity, which changed the landscape quite a bit, I think.
Yeah. But see, Brisbane, you've got North Stradbroke Island and Moreton Island, which are basically uninhabited. Big island just outside of Brisbane, and they're just full of just sand dunes and just total bush.
Right.
And if you look on Google Earth, they're amazing. In fact, no one. I don't think there's very tiny settlements, but basically, there's no one lives there.
Okay. Well, that's encouraging.
Yeah.
So probably the powers that be have got some awareness of the value of keeping islands pristine.
You'd hope so.
Yeah. I think there might have been sand mining at some stage, but that's sort of stopped.
And there's Bribie Island, isn't there?
Yeah, Bribie Island. We were there a couple of years back, and the bottom half is developed, and the top half is a big national park. And it was quite. You can drive along the beach there, which is quite interesting. And if you get bogged, your car gets washed out, and never see it again.
That's good. Yeah. No, there's lots of islands. You look at the map; it's just dotted with them, isn't it? It's just
there's tons of them.
Big continuum along the Great Barrier Reef.
I got in trouble on Bribie Island. We camped on the beach, that camp spot thing, and I put a tennis up, a wire along the beach, along trees, and the ranger came up, and I really got told off for having that wire there.
Oh,
And
What do you think you were doing?
he thought I was trying to catch or net birds or something.
Oh, right.
And I said, look, it's a radio antenna. He didn't even know what I was talking about.
he wouldn't even know what a radio was.
He wasn't, and he told me he was getting out his book to book me and all sort of crap. It was just
Vicious.
it was crap, and
So how'd you wiggle out of that in the
well, I just and then he
Took it down, I suppose.
well, I said I'll take it down, but
Yeah.
they had no idea what I was doing. It wasn't going to damage it. It was just thin, the very thin hookup wire I use. You know.
Yeah. Catch birds. What does he think?
Oh,
The they go out to catch birds.
yeah.
I know people used to put wires in rivers and use a telephone crank to
Is that
stun the fish.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And he also had to go at me because you're not meant to park. I parked up on the sand dune, but I didn't go any further because I was driving down the beach and I got the gears mixed up and I thought, that's right, I'd taken the hubs out, so I was in four-wheel drive, but it wasn't. And I was having a hell of a trouble driving down the beach, and all these other cars are zooming on. I thought, gee, there's something wrong with this car. It's almost getting stuck in the sand, and the tide's going to come up. I was panicking a bit.
You only got two wheels going.
So I drove up the sand dune as far as I could until it bogged and stalled. I thought, well, thank God we're above the waterline. I'll check this out later.
Yeah.
I thought maybe something has happened to the gearbox and it's not in four-wheel drive or whatever. And so I was parked there, and he came back and he said, "What, you can't park there?" And he's really just going berserk like the guy we met at
Yes, like the toilet paper man.
Yes,
Yeah, that's right.
He had nothing else to worry about except
I
that.
think he was bored. He was probably bored.
Yeah, I said, look, I'm sorry,
It's
that's where it
excitement for
stalled.
the day.
That's where I am. I'm going to look in to see what's happened.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's amazing. Now, there's about 20 potteroos now.
Really?
Yeah, everywhere.
They might be looking at you for a meal. Jump on.
Yeah, they probably are.
Jump on you and
They probably
pounce.
Try to organise how they're going to take you down.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. This is a conspiracy. I'm being surrounded by them.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, I mean, you do get your officious types, don't you, in that area. We certainly had our experience up in Borbor that time.
Yeah. Now the
Toilet
potteroos,
paper man.
they might be good in the pot.
Yeah, I should take one for the pot.
Yeah.
They could all wake up in the morning with a potteroo in the pot, and so that's breakfast.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the supermarkets are the supermarket is expensive.
Is it?
Anyhow, no, we're living simply. That's the mantra for the week. So, and if anyone's too hungry, they've just got to drink more.
Okay.
What town's the supermarket in?
It's in Nelly Bay.
Okay.
Nelly Bay, right when you come in. I can't think of the name of the settlement. Nelly Bay, I think. Yeah, it's a bit of an IGA just when you get off the ferry. But it's a bit of a wake-up call. We should have bought our food in Townsville first and brought it across. But no big deal.
You drove from Cairns to Townsville.
Yeah, we drove to Cairns to Townsville a few days ago, and then just dropped the car off at the airport, and then just got a bus to the ferry, and it's quite a lot of us, so it's quite an interesting logistical exercise.
It would be, and it's a boring trip through all those cane fields, isn't it?
Yes, it goes forever. It was a long trip. I did all the driving, and it was just goes forever. It's about 5 hours, I think.
And I always think when you're driving to the sugar cane, think this would have been beautiful, rainforest once.
Yeah, it would have all been rainforest once. Yeah, that's true.
And just to make sugar so people get diabetes. It's a useless thing. It's a useless commodity.
It is a useless commodity. We've become totally sugar dependent as a society.
Yep.
To the point where we're just major health implications.
It's a conspiracy, and they're never going to address it. But it's the worst health thing in the Western world.
It's a massive problem. It's so big, and
It's linked to obesity and diabetes.
It certainly is.
Yeah, no, that's something that everyone should be aware of. I think is the extent that sugar affects almost everything we consume.
When you go to one of those, road stop, garage or supermarket things, everything is sugar. They've got rows and rows of fridge with coloured bottles of soda, of
sugar
soft
water
drink.
with
It's
10
just sugar with 10 tablespoons of sugar.
Yeah,
And they've got sweets, lollies. It's just sugar. all of North
It
Queensland's come down to these shops and they're just selling their sugar in the
That's
shop.
it. It's all harvested up here at Townsville or Towns.
And everyone is it's worse than alcohol or drugs. Everyone is addicted to sugar.
Well, alcohol, of course, is sugar related.
It is
as well.
true. So everyone, effectively, it's a sugar conspiracy.
Yeah, we all get the big sugar hit. That's what keeps us going. That feeds the society engine, I think.
There was actually a good ABC doco on it a couple of years ago, or maybe sooner, about sugar and just exemplifying all we're saying.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that kids get addicted when they're really young.
That's the idea, you see, get them hooked.
Yep.
Yeah, they have their Nutrigrain for breakfast.
Oh, that's the worst thing.
It's about 50% sugar.
Exactly.
It is.
Yep.
It is. All those breakfast cereals. In fact, I remember one of them, they found the cardboard from the packet was much healthier than the contents. It's pretty incredible, but it doesn't surprise me. Yeah. No, we live in a sugar world, sugar-coated world. Everything's, everything's got the sugar gloss.
Yeah, and wheat isn't much better.
That's right. Wheat and sugar have a lot to answer for.
They have, and that's what's ruined this country. Wheat and sugar has cleared all the land.
Yeah, it has.
And sheep, at least you can eat sheep and they make wool, I suppose, but they've cleared land. We've ruined the country just for poisons.
Yep. Poisoning ourselves. The quick fix, the carbohydrate fix, or the sugar hit. Yeah,
the sugar hit. That's right.
Yes, we should all give it the miss and go on keto diets.
Yeah, well, everyone, you instantly lose weight if you stop having sugar.
You do. It doesn't take long, like a couple of days.
That's right. So that's the emissions health report.
I'm going to go and get a drink now. I was going to have a ginger beer, but now I'm going to have a milk after.
I think it's probably safer.
I won't be long.
Okay.
Back soon.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Well, also, I'm looking all on Google Earth. I can see all these little...
Yeah, so the shipwreck's in Cockle Bay, which is down the other side of the island.
Right,
So I'm going to head down there tomorrow or the next day. Have a look
see
at that.
Cockle Bay, yeah.
Yeah, there's a big boat
There's a
there.
little road along the bay a bit, yeah.
Yeah, this is a road that sort of circumnavigates the island, and there's buses constantly, so you don't need to have a car here.
Oh, so they've got local buses. That's great.
It's got these buses that just constantly circle the island, so you can just hop on one and go wherever you like. So it's quite user-friendly for situations where you don't have a car. I think it's quite pricey to bring a car over.
Oh, you'd have to be living there for a while, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So most tourists just use the local convenience. A lot of people driving mini mokes around.
They still have mokes up there.
Yeah,
isn't that incredible?
Yeah,
I wondered where they all got to. They seem to disappear.
Yeah, they're all here. They're all here.
They were the most
mini mokes.
Most useless car. Probably okay for them.
Yeah, they were another Leyland disaster.
Leyland. I had one, and it's the only car I've ever had that actually broke down, and I couldn't do anything with it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mechanically, they were hopeless. Well, Leyland, what do you expect?
Yes.
But if Toyota made one, it would be okay.
Yeah.
But I suppose the island doesn't have to go that far, and it'd be a nice car for that purpose. Jump in and jump out.
That's it. It's easy, and I don't think anyone locks their houses and things here. I think it's a pretty sort of okay place in that way. So, yeah, it's fun seeing all the mokes around. And sort of open cars everywhere. It's very hilly, so you've got to be a bit wary of the roads are narrow, and so yes, there's surprisingly you can sort of get yourself caught in between traffic. Sometimes, would you believe, it was harder to cross the road here than it is back home.
Is that right?
Because there are certain bottlenecks where the traffic sort of banks up a bit, but most of it's fine. It's just in the built-up areas.
It's like a lot of islands. There's only one road around, and it's just busy because it's just the only way to get somewhere.
That's right, exactly. So how many thousand people on the island, or some percentage of them is always going to be mobile and using that one road system.
Because there's only one road between those four settlements.
Yeah, that's it. It's just so if you had a disaster, you'd be a bit stuck.
You couldn't get there unless there's walking tracks across there.
Yeah, well, there's roads and there's walking tracks. Oh, and there's mopeds. Lots of mopeds.
Oh, right.
People riding around. They're fun. I wouldn't mind having one of them.
Yeah.
That'd be a good way to get around. Yeah, so there's that as well. But yeah, no, look, yeah, there's walking tracks that basically follow the roads most of the time, or they sort of interweave in and around, and it's more of an interesting sort of way to get around, really. But if you don't get too exhausted with that,
can you walk into the hinterland in the middle of the island?
Well, I think there are some tracks in, but I don't know if I'm feeling a bit lazy. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I think if I came back here on my own, I'd do it very differently. But and Kate's wanting to do a fair bit of walking, but she probably wouldn't do that sort of walking. At this stage, so I'm sort of I'm pleased that she's keen to do some walking though.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be walking together because we haven't done that for years.
Yeah, well, you can look forward to that.
Yeah, it's good. So it's nice to sort of get out and check a few places out. And yeah, there's an extensive hinterland on the other side of the island.
Well, it's about two-thirds of the island, just under.
Yeah, well, it is. That's right, exactly. And but I think there are some tracks, but that's not. It's not easy walking. I think it'd be for the seasoned walker, but it would be good to come across. I don't know. You probably have to come in the middle of winter when it's not quite so hot, and it could be an interesting experience. There's a number of bays which can only be accessed by boat or trackless walking.
Yeah,
but
it looks like it.
It doesn't seem to be. It's good. There are not OH&S and national park signs up everywhere telling you how to live and how to be. I've noticed that when it's one quite obvious thing that you're not sort of having Big Brother looking over your shoulder all the time, which is sort of nice. Although I've had the police drive past me about 3 times where I am at the moment. They'll probably ask me next time what I'm doing.
I guess they'd have such a busy time there, wouldn't they?
Yes, I think they'd be like...
You would be a major crime incident. Someone standing there with a phone on the beach.
Well, it'll be like your Fisher's Park Ranger and the toilet paper man.
That's right.
They'll be wanting to entertain themselves, so they'll probably see someone talking on their phone, walking around a beach park. Yeah. As being a bit suspicious, maybe.
Well, it looks... I think it's a bigger island than Deal Island.
Okay. Oh, look, that would be a totally different experience. That'd be amazing. That's an island I would like to go to. So I wonder how Chris is going.
I think the plans are going underway. I think he was going to meet up with a few people this weekend.
Okay.
So we'll probably... In fact, I'll check him. I might get an email from him about what he's doing.
Sure. Okay.
So we'll try and...
because I think
it'll work out.
If it doesn't work out, he's thinking of a plan B, maybe with yourself and
that's right, yeah,
Mike, and so whatever way, there'd be
more to defray the cost of the trip, I suppose.
Yeah, I think you'd need to find a few people because it would be a bit overwhelming otherwise to hire a boat. But leaving from Port Albert's a good idea. Makes much more sense than leaving from San Remo.
Yeah.
That'd be good. No, look, I'd love to go to Deal Island another time.
Be cooler at least than where you are.
Yeah. Oh, well, it'd just be interesting. It's full of history and it's real wilderness, and it's a spectacular location. And it's like Wilson's Prom on steroids.
Well, looking at Magnetic Island on Google Earth, the middle of the island and the north coast, it looks wilderness to me. There's nothing there.
Yeah. I think so. But that has a particular appeal, going to an island without any, without much infrastructure at all. Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, that'd be incredible. And I think you can actually go to some of those smaller islands I think there's a couple of other, Chris was saying, smaller islands near the is it near the lighthouse or near the settlement?
That's right. Yeah, there's an island. There's Erith Island and Dover Island.
That's right. Yes.
And they're joined by a very you can almost walk between them.
Yeah, it's almost just like an estuary or like a
and you could just sail there and you could just spend a day there.
I think that'd be fun. I reckon it'd be interesting to go to. And the Bass Strait Islands it's my part of the world. I think it's got more appeal from that point of view as well. Yeah. Having hung out in South Gippsland.
No Potoroos though.
Yeah. Oh, no Potoroos. I don't know. No crocodiles, that's
No.
for sure.
Well, you could, if you want to go to Deal Island, you can register and do a 3-month stint there. Look after the lighthouse and like the people do.
I think that's in demand. I think it's in high demand doing that. And I think I remember hearing a discussion about this, and there's a lot of retired people put their hand up for that one. It'd be an amazing experience.
It would be, yeah.
It'd be really good if you had some good. I think they look for people with good practical skills and
You'd have to,
farming experience and stuff like that. But I think that'd be amazing. Yeah.
And you'd have to. After a few days, you realise it was a bit boring. You'd be stuck there, wouldn't you?
Well, you would, but if you're really into DXing or really into wireless,
it'd be fantastic.
You could use all your spare time just doing missions.
You could.
Just imagine the missions you could do. You have the lighthouse at your disposal.
Oh, yes.
You could have the 160-metre signal to die for.
Now, what Chris should do is take his photoelectric diode, whatever he's got, the big...
Yeah.
Up to the lighthouse, put it in the focal length of the thing, and use that as a beam.
Yes, that's right. You could. I think it's still got its old Fresnel lens.
Fresnel, yeah.
Fresnel lens, yes. I think it still has its old light. Yes, that'd be amazing. Then you'd really beam up Scotty, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You get a big beam. Yeah, that would be good. So, yeah, there would be all sorts of possibilities there. And I think he said that the lighthouse ended up being a bit of a furphy because it was in cloud most of the time.
It was too high. You had to build another one down below. I mean, they didn't research it very well, did they?
They didn't. They didn't think it through. But I suppose back in 1848, they just sort of...
Higher the better.
The higher the better would have been a template. Yeah, but still, look, it would be interesting. It's just such a dramatic island. It's very, very rough. I mean, amazing landscape.
I think, looking at the Google thing here, you could have walked across there, 5,000 years ago.
Yeah, last ice age, you could zip across.
And look, Flinders is a lovely place. It's worth going there.
Yes, that sounds really appealing too. There's got extensive areas of national park as well, doesn't it? Or just state park.
Look, if you had a couple of days, go there and just you could go as a couple and just enjoy the solitude that beaches with no one on them and everyone.
Well, that's the big appeal of going to an island is the solitude and the sense of being in a remote place and away from the hordes. And Flinders is it looks like an amazing place, and still quite backward, not overdeveloped and not gentrified. So that looks good. Yeah, all the Bass Strait Islands sort of seem to be sort of still in a different time zone, perhaps.
There's a lot of them. Well, there's not many. There's not, apart from Flinders and Deal with the caretakers, there's none, and Barron Island and King. Yeah. And what's the one they're going to build, the wind farm one? Three Hummock Island and Hunter Island. Oh, yes. And all those. It's Robbins Island. Which
is that the one they're going to build the farm on?
Yeah, which is not, if you look at it on the map, it is an island, but it's really an estuary between. It's only about a kilometre from land. It's not like a big island out.
Okay, right.
But I remember standing on the knob at Stanley and looking at Three Hummock Island.
Yes.
And
that's right. I've stood there at Stanley and looked at it too. Yeah, it's quite close in, isn't it? It's only just over the thing.
That's right.
It's not far at all. Yeah.
And you've got that big antenna at Burnie, which is not used anymore because they've gone off the air. That's right out to sea. What a fantastic takeoff.
It would be. What a great spot for missions.
You could buy that.
Yes, that was almost. It was almost in our midst, wasn't it? Yeah, I noticed Anthony's put a whole stack of Crammond gear up on the VK Ham site.
Has he? I'll have a look.
Yeah, he put up a couple of Crammond the CX25s, which are quite. I got one I use sometimes on the on 160.
Right.
It works pretty well, but it's an old grid modulated thing. It's not state of the art, but it's the standby.
Quite a few of the people on the coffee break use the Cremens.
Yes, I think
I think they might have.
Kevin CKL's got one. He uses it, I think.
Yeah, he used to. I think Kevin's.
Yes, I think he's got some other thing.
Digital
He's
thing
got a
now.
Flex.
Oh, indeed he has. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately-
But there's two of those ships Crammon sets.
I'll have a look at that. Not that I want to
the
buy
bigger
them,
ones.
but pity Anthony didn't come to the old timers.
Oh, I didn't. Well, he wasn't there.
He wasn't there. In fact, Jeff Sylvester wasn't there.
Oh,
really?
the JS.
Yep.
Yep.
Anthony
Because
wasn't
he
there.
usually goes to those things, doesn't he? Jeff
Yep.
does.
And the egg, and he had something to do afterwards, so there was not a big thing. I spent all week cleaning the house, vacuuming the house, polishing the table. And then
Vacuuming.
I went to the supermarket, bought sugar, Tim Tams and all these sorts of things,
Yes.
and chocolate eclairs and, Rolo bars, all this health food. And no one came. I had to sit, so depressing, sitting.
You had to eat it all yourself.
I had to sit
Oh,
and
you had
eat
to sit there
3
and eat all the
packets
Tim
of Tim
Tams
Tams and chocolate royals. I was stuffing them in my mouth.
And you'd mowed your lawn and done the edges.
I'd done all that stuff, pressed my pants, done everything.
Yes.
I thought there was going to be a big influx of personalities here, and I
Yes.
told Anne to go home, go out, go shopping, because
Oh, you thought they were
everyone
all
would be
going to
here.
come back, have a big
And-
missions.
Yes,
Old timers missions.
that's right. And that didn't happen.
Didn't happen. No.
Oh dear.
Gotta
Well,
wait 6 months now.
I thought as people they'd sit there, stuff their faces with chocolate royals and Tim Tams, and they come out here and poke all the emitters and pull plugs
Yes.
out and things. And
yes.
Tell you how you
zap
think
themselves
how
on.
things should be done better, and
that's right. Yes.
That's right. You need to get. Yes, you always get a bit of a lecture from someone.
And the worst thing is I had this big pile of junk that I was going to give to Anthony to take away, but he didn't come.
Didn't turn up.
So I've had to put it in the street. And it's all gone now.
Okay. Okay.
There's all
So
this
you've been
cramming
putting
and
another-
stuff.
Right. It's probably where he got his crammers.
Probably
No,
he gets a lot. I did give him a few crammons actually. I'll have to look at that site because they might be the ones I gave him years ago.
Yeah, they're the same. They're the ones with the big
Round
AWA dial.
Yeah.
That booby dial.
Yeah.
But yeah, the it's 25 CX25
Oh,
or
right.
CT25, I think it is.
Yeah,
But he's got two of them. He's got a stack of Westerns as well.
Oh, I'll have to VK here. I have to have a look.
Yeah, have a look at that. You'll see them there.
Now,
But
I'm in the middle of doing a video. You know the one on the car radio,
oh yes,
and I
yes.
mentioned the Ferris.
that was excellent.
Yep, I'm halfway doing one on the Ferris now.
Oh,
Yes.
good.
And
I'm
the Ferris-
looking forward to seeing that.
The Ferris works fine. It was
Yeah.
just a bad connection, that switch, the 6-volt, 240-volt switch,
Yeah.
and it works. It's a beautiful radio.
Okay.
It sounds super fire on a big speaker. Its internal speaker's crap. I'll have to put a new one in. It's got sand in it or something.
Yeah, sure.
But it actually works, and it's
They're a portable set as well, aren't they? You can carry
Exactly.
them out.
Yep, you take it out of your car because in those days radios are quite expensive. You just have one radio
Yes.
for the home and the car.
Yes, yes.
So I was quite surprised when it actually worked.
Oh, very good. Did you have to replace many capacitors?
The only thing I replaced was something with wiring the switch. I just bypassed it, and it hums. I just bypassed one of the electrodes has gone dry, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
But apart from that, it works fine.
Fantastic.
Now it's missing its vibes, so I can't test it on 6 volts, and I haven't got this right socket of vibes that'll fit the socket.
There's usually boxes of vibes at those HRSA
Yeah,
units, isn't there?
because
So
I'd love to have
probably
it buzzing
one up.
away on the on 6 volts.
Got to make it buzz.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's such
Oh,
a
fantastic.
solid
Well, look
seed.
forward to the video.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's great.
I'll probably have it
Do
up the
you need
next
much
day.
of an antenna with it, or is it very sensitive?
You put your finger on it, it picks up the world.
Wow.
What a car
Yeah,
radio
It's
is
got,
like.
it's got an RF stage.
Oh
hasn't it?
yes, yeah, RF stage, and it's super compact. I don't think you could make. It's got octal valves. Don't think you could make anything more compact. Everything is squeezed in, touching each other.
It's got that wonderful post-industrial look.
Oh, it does, yes.
That 50s look, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
I-
Well, I look forward to that video.
I've never worked on it because I thought I couldn't work out how to open it, but actually it's
Yeah.
not so hard once you look into it.
Well, you see a lot of them at those HRSA
You
things.
do, yeah. Yeah.
So I'll have to pick one up now.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh,
And-
well, you've done well with that.
The thing is that I found that when I was young, I didn't know anyone had a radio in their car. because they were too expensive in the aftermarket things. But obviously people must have, and they've all sort of come out of the VK3ASE now. But, some people must have had wirelesses in their car.
Yeah, they must have. I mean, I suppose, I don't know, how are they positioned? Do they have like a cradle?
Well, I think you had to put a cradle underneath the dashboard.
Yeah, and have some sort of way of clipping it in.
Yeah.
And is there evidence of it sort of having like an interface for a car?
There's
like a Jones plug or something like that?
I think there's a special terminal for 6 volts, and then there's that old-fashioned bayonet connector for car radios they had that plugs into the thing.
Yes. Okay.
So it's quite amazing.
Oh, excellent! Oh, that's very good.
I could put that in my car. I could have 2. I could have the box one and have that in the car as well.
2 stations at once.
Yes.
I have to say the other 20 set or 30 set is just is marvellous.
It is
the
amazing,
styling
isn't
and it says everything about the era.
Yes.
All that even the dial is with its
it's a beautiful
tapered
dial, isn't it?
Yes, it is very Art Deco. All the Art Deco styling. Yes, just have that on the and a vintage car would look amazing.
It would look fantastic. Yeah, in a 1930s car or something, 28.
But you did very well getting that going. That's it didn't end up being much work at all.
I thought it'd just be rubbish, but it's not. And I think I'll just look at more of those things and do videos on them because it's quite spectacular.
I think so. I think it's a good idea.
I certainly enjoyed the one you did. That was excellent.
I have to do some more. And I'm looking at other junk. I've actually done a lot of more junkizing here and got things organised.
Okay.
And I've
digging deep.
Yep. I've got a second-generation Marantz CD player. It weighs about 10 tonnes.
Oh, right.
Built like a battleship, and it actually works.
Oh, very good.
And
what's a nice accessory to have in the booth?
Yeah, and they're quite expensive, apparently.
They are.
Because they're old. 1984, I think.
Really? Okay. Because they had a different approach to sampling back then, I think.
Yeah, I think they used one...
Single bit, didn't they?
Yeah, one chip for both channels. So actually, the left and right channels are delayed by a few microseconds.
Oh, really?
Which you probably can't tell, but that was a way because DA converters were quite expensive and hard to build in those days.
Yes, I've heard that too. But they're quite collectible, and they've got that. There's probably got some sort of euphoric quality that all first generation equipment seem to have.
It would have that tone.
Audio files.
It'd be like a vinyl. It's got that added distortion, which people say is actually enhancing the whole signal.
That's right.
Well, you'll have to allude to that in your video.
I will. I remember when I went down to Mr. Marx's place. He was the first person I knew had a CD player.
Oh, yes.
And as soon as it played, I thought, this is a different world, totally. You could turn it up as loud as you like without feedback to the turntable. And there's no hum like you always get on pickups. There's always a hum.
There's an inky black darkness, isn't there, to the sound?
It was just incredible.
To the silence.
And you could hear... It was something recorded at the Albert Hall, and when you started, instead of hearing the needle, you heard the ambience of the Albert Hall before the music started. I thought,
yes, you do hear the ambience. That's so true.
I thought I'd never heard that before.
Yep.
Yeah.
The level of detail is just unbeatable.
It is. Yeah. And another thing I found was a pair of Western Electric headphones.
Oh yes.
And I looked them up. On those old magazines, ads for about 1923, and they're the most comfortable old-style headphones I've ever put on, and they sound bloody good. They don't sound tinny.
Western Electrics.
They sound better than those cheap headphones you get at the airlines.
Okay.
And I thought, well, if this is the standard you could hear stuff, it's not bad.
So they're dynamic headphones?
No, they're just diaphragm headphones, but obviously they've been made properly.
They're not electret or electrostat types?
No, they're just ordinary sort of headphones.
Right. Okay. Oh, very good.
And
that's great.
Now, a thing I must mention, which is quite depressing.
Oh, yes.
If I go to American radio history, and I was going to replay, get Siri to read the Radio and Hobbies editorial, and I went to the Radio and Hobbies page, and this is very, very poor, I must admit. I go to the Radio Hobbies page. Removed by order of claimed copyright holder.
Hopeless.
All issues have been removed by order of claimed copyright holder. If you would like the listing to return, please send a courteous and well-reasoned note to the email listed below explaining why you believe it is important at this time to allow the free distribution of these historical publications to be made. Now, this is the letter they got, the threatening letter. My name is Nicholas Vinan, and I am the director of Silicon Chip Publications Proprietary Limited. Your website is infringing on the copyright owned by my company, and we own all the copyright to all the Radio, TV and Hobbies and Electronics Australia magazines. Multiple articles were copied from these magazines onto your servers without permission. The original articles are sold through our website at the following links, and there's links to it. The unauthorised and infringing copies can be found at what's at the site I'm reading from. This letter is official notification under Section 512C of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DCMA, and I seek removal of the aforementioned infringing material from your servers. Please remove the infringing material immediately and cease any further posting of infringing material to your server for the future. Please be advised that law requires you to remove or disable access to the infringing materials upon receiving this notice. Under US law, a service provider, and it goes on and on.
Yeah.
It's bloody Silicon Chip. I will never buy their magazine again.
It's outrageous. It could only happen in Australia.
It is absolutely pathetic. All the other stuff they've got English and American magazines, no one gives a stuff. And bloody Silicon Chip.
Why would they? You know, why would you care?
How much money they're going to be? Who's looking at 1949 bloody Radio and Hobbies?
Yeah, absolutely. It's outrageous.
Absolutely outrageous. The fact that other organisations haven't done it.
Yeah, it says everything about the cultural cringe in this country, doesn't it?
It's absolutely pathetic. On an historic basis, they should all be out there.
Of course they should. Yeah, and everyone else has sanctioned it. There's no other problems evidently. No. Why would that be the one publication that's holding back? It's just crazy.
And the thing is, all his copies are from those CDs that were made years ago, which aren't very well copied, and they've been out. Everyone's got them. Every ham's got them. They've been on the web, on the cloud. They're public information now.
That's right, exactly.
And all he's doing is getting the stuff that's been around for years and putting it on his website.
Yeah. It's just incredible. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's just so backward. It's just unbelievable. It's the same cringe that we get with our national, or Chris will speak to this, our archives and things like that as well. There's very, very little Australian material allowed to be made available, it seems.
I'll just read this. Therefore, in order for you to remain immune from a copyright infringement action, you will need to remove or otherwise disable the infringing material from your servers with all due speed. I am providing this notice in good faith and with the reasonable belief you have rights, and it goes on. Signed, Nicholas Vinan, editor, Silicon Chip magazine, because the other guy left and this Vinan prick is now in charge.
Yeah, but he's probably been directed to do it. He's just the editor. He's probably whoever owns the. There'd be another a body above him. Probably he's probably the apparatchik.
It's unbelievable.
There's been a board meeting or some directors, and they've said, "Oh, look, this is not good," and then they've gone ahead with it.
I hope they get really bad publicity about this. It's I hope people write.
Well, it'd be worth writing. Or if you wrote to Silicon Chip about it, they wouldn't publish a letter. That's the problem.
No, they would not. Wasting your time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it's like it's the American Act that is getting them under, because of the in the US. And the trouble is, this could start all the other companies.
I know. It's dangerous because it could actually put something amongst the pigeons.
It's another reason not to kind of make a public fuss about it, I think.
Well, I'm going to make a fuss about this.
Well, you're not doing anything wrong, but I'm saying that if you were to write back and sort of start a public controversy about it.
I'll write a letter to just saying, if they get 1,000 or so people saying they're never going to buy a Silicon Chip again.
Oh yeah, that would help.
And what about Australasian Wireless World? Who owns that? You know, someone's going to say they own that. I am getting the more interesting things off that website and storing them locally.
Good idea.
And I think someone should, as Mr. Newbeck said, should make a complete copy of that site in case they get taken down.
Good idea.
Yes. I think Mr. Newbeck's worked out some protocols that using his Linux systems to copy the whole site if he can.
Yeah.
It's a few terabytes, but yeah.
And look, it'd be a great thing to do. And there was a great site. Musicpedia or something, and they had all this music. You could download sheet music. A lot of it was non-copyright, classical stuff, a lot of popular stuff, whatever. And the good thing is you download it, and you could if you wanted it in different, you could just transpose it before you download it.
Yeah, I use those facilities all the time.
It was fantastic.
I use them constantly. Yeah,
and
if there's no questions asked, it's completely, and it's just expected to be an available resource with no questions at all. But this is really quite unfortunate.
Oh, terrible.
I mean, how much money do they make selling old radio and TV and hobbies? I would doubt if they make anything.
Any at all, you think?
No, it'd be minimal. It's just, I don't know. There's some identity issue, a crisis, I think, for a magazine to have to go down that path.
I can imagine them saying, okay, maybe to 1965 when they went to Electronics Australia with a news thing, anything before that is irrelevant. It's technically irrelevant.
Of course it is. Yes, absolutely.
It's well beyond. There's no modern innovation.
But it is depressing. It's unfortunate because it's, as you say, it could begin a groundswell and it could have a lasting effect.
That's right.
And it's probably the first. It would have to be Australia that makes the first move, wouldn't it?
And like all these other magazines, Wireless World. Look, maybe people have been watching it, and this site's been getting too big for its boots, and they think we've got to stop it now. It wouldn't be surprising. I think I've downloaded most of the Wireless Worlds. But it's, people are going to get an idea about this.
Poor fellow who's running the site, it must be really, he must be beside himself because he's obviously put his heart and soul into it.
It could be actually totally closed down.
It's incredible. Yeah. Well, I hope he's able to put it up hosted on a server in another country or do something like that. Yeah. If he'll find a mirror site somewhere else.
Put it up in Russia or somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Possible.
Yeah, you probably could do that. Yeah. But it's such a valued resource. It's incredible.
Yeah, and it's the only one I've ever come across. The only magazine that's had this, and it's a whole lot of them too. Yeah. Removed by order of claim copyright holder.
Oh, it's just incredible. I'm glad he sort of put up an avenue, very explicitly put an avenue forward for people to register their dissatisfaction with it all. Yeah.
So basically, most people interested in electronics have got an illegal copy of it, and they should go to gold. Basically, that's what they.
It's muscle flexing, and it's evidently a board related. It's done high up.
I wonder what company owns them, because it might be
the parent company is probably probably Woolworths or something.
Yeah, it'll be a big multinational or something.
And their lawyers say, we've got to take this down.
Just as a matter of course. That's right.
We can't have this.
Yes, I'd say it's something that may even be automated at a higher level, and then it's come down to this editor guy. He's been given the hatchet, and he's probably got no recourse but to go through with the motions.
Very likely.
I mean, I wouldn't blame him, but he's the person to go to.
His name's on it. He's going to get the flack.
Yep, it will, and maybe he can put together a case and say, look, 1,000 people have written in. I'll pen something, and I think it's certainly worthwhile registering a complaint about it.
I've tried to support a silicon chip. The magazine is going more crap by the time, and this is just the last thing. I'm never going to buy one again.
No, fair enough. What's that Diode magazine like? Have you ever bought that?
I've never looked at it.
No. What's its subject matter?
Electronics. It's like a competition to silicon chip.
All right.
Yes, I wonder how it's going. I wonder if it's owned by the same company. I wonder what the background of that one is. I suppose I've seen it a couple of times, but I've never borrowed it or bought one.
Yeah, and D-I-O. How is it spelt? It's
D-Y or D-I?
D-I.
D-I.
Yeah, but it's sort of presented as DIY sort of thing.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, it's a pun, I think, on diode.
I see. Now I get the idea, yeah.
Yeah, it's a new player, though.
Diode
And-
magazine, here we are.
They've only been going a little while.
I can't imagine they've got much. I could run an electronics magazine now when...
Yeah, in this day and age, you just wonder what the
yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah, diode. Current issue, past issues, subscribe. Who's diode? It looks like they've got their issues up online. Have they?
Oh, yeah.
They've got the whole lot available. I can buy it for $3.95.
I might buy one just to see what it's like.
Yeah, well, you could.
Yeah, have a look at. Speaking of silicon chip, I've had some correspondence with a certain person who publishes silicon chip, who he's very involved with the HRSA.
Right.
This person, and he's put together a kit for a power supply for battery radios, 20s radios.
Right.
So I've decided to put in an order. It's just going to be an easy way for me to construct something that gives me a 90 volts, 67 volts, and 22 volts, and
Your valve
minus
voltages.
4.5 for those 20 sets. So I'm looking for a way forward to get those old Atwater Kent radios going.
Oh, yeah, because you've got them now. That's there.
Yeah, so that's the... So I'll put this kit together. It's pretty easy. It won't be a day at an afternoon's work, and it'll mean I'll have a nice, easy battery supply.
Yeah.
And for 20 sets. So yeah, it's a new way forward.
I've got a kit here. I haven't built it. It's got you run on I think D cells, and it makes 130 volts, and
Oh yes. Tony Mayer had one at the HRSA. And he put a little B battery kit together, didn't he? A little thing with a. Yeah, look, there's lots of ways of doing it, and but I thought this looked comprehensive.
Yeah.
It's straightforward. It's just filling out a breadboard with the components. It comes with the components anyhow, so it's nothing to it really. Don't even have to think. And just mount a couple of transformers in a box, and it'll be a way to power up those 20 sets. I'm going to use my Philips 1930. Yeah, well, so you've got one of those. Yeah, you've actually got a battery eliminator, don't you?
And there's all the tappings for different C voltages and B voltages and everything.
Yeah, sure.
And it's got a 280 valve in there, and yeah.
Oh, very good. Yeah, so that's right. You've already got a setup for yours, but I think it's worthwhile. I don't think I've spoken to either of you since I picked up that Type E speaker from a certain sale.
Yes, how'd it go?
Well, I tested that. It's pretty good. It's surprisingly good. And that's the Atwater Kent Type E 1927.
Is that those moving armature type?
It's a moving armature with a big cone, but it's a 15-inch cone. It's enormous.
Big super bass. Well,
and it's not secured on the edge. It's just a free-floating cone held in the middle. It's a very primitive. You can see how the Kellogg's cornflakes design was a vast improvement by securing the edge. And but look, it did sound surprisingly good, much better than a horn.
Oh, they're a massive leap forward from a horn. You get rid of all that resonancy, tinny sound.
That's right. That sounds quite natural. And I only just plugged it into a normal set. I didn't even put an impedance matching transformer in betweens. But I think it's actually in quite good nick. So it'll be interesting. It's one of those great big round, looks like a big...
fan thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a fan. A fan. Yeah, exactly. And
no baffle. I didn't understand baffles.
They didn't. They had none of that. That concept wasn't developed at that stage. But 1927 is pretty early.
It is.
So look, for cone speakers.
If you had one of those, it would have been pretty good. I mean, we should compare it to my Geckophone speaker. See which one's.
Well, that's right. I was thinking it'd be worthwhile doing that because that's a similar sort of principle, isn't it?
Yeah. Look, it just sounds like a really crap speaker, the Geckophone.
Yeah.
But it's certainly better than horns.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Now, I've got an interesting thing you can do. You want to test a speaker to see how good its bass response is, but you need to put in a big baffle to get it. When I was doing the tests with that car radio, I had a little neck mic.
Oh, yes.
And I just had the Goodman's, the 12UX or whatever speaker just sitting upright on the table.
Yeah.
And I just hung the the thing over the side of the speaker, but underneath the cone, like inside the inside the speaker, basically, before the sounds had time to go over the cone and be cancelled out again.
Oh.
You get super bass if you
Wow.
put a mic inside the thing. And then I tried, if you have a big 12-inch speaker with no baffle, it sounds okay but no bass, you put it into, put your ear in the speaker, super bass, because it hasn't been cancelled out.
Oh,
Because it hasn't been cancelled out.
And
It's like
you
a
hear-
big headphone.
Yes.
Like a big
And you
headphone,
put two of them on. Now, there were a set of, I think there were a set of stack speakers had that, you basically put your head in two speakers and they had super bass. And this is amazing because there's no cancellation, so what you hear is what the speaker can give out.
That's it.
And you
How
turn
about
the
that?
SIG-Gen down to 25 hertz and your ears popping, It is an amazing thing to test speakers
Isn't
with.
it interesting? Oh, that's a worthwhile
Yeah, that's
consideration.
terrific.
I hadn't thought of that. You could actually make a little sort of like an electric chair, like a booth,
Yeah,
where you're sitting in a chair and have a speaker mounted.
Speaker each side.
Yeah.
that's right. But your ear
And,
has to be in below the level of the cone.
Yes,
or
I
the
suppose so.
edge of the cone, so it
Yes,
doesn't cancel.
before you get the first reflection. That's
Yeah,
true. Yeah,
but it really is useful.
great.
Yeah,
that's great.
That's interesting.
What
It's
a
just
good idea.
by
So you
mistake.
just use the microphone.
yeah, because
Pop them on.
if that car radio thing, the first clips, it got super bass. That's because I put it right in the speaker, and I thought, that's going to be muffled in the speaker, so I pulled it out a bit. It wasn't as good, but I realised it's super bass because it was
Not cancelling out.
Yeah, in the field. So
Wow. That's a great discovery.
Yeah.
That's a good one for the R&D and latest volume.
That's right. And if you had a good, a decent mic with a calibrated mic, you could actually do a response test on.
You probably
You could.
Yeah.
You could.
Yeah.
Without worrying
And
about room reflections and stuff.
And you could probably run the speaker on very low power as well. And
That's right. Yeah.
You wouldn't have to wind it up much.
Yeah.
Interesting to try it on an RCA.
Yeah. Well, that's right. You might hit the boobs. That's the trouble.
Yes, that's right. Yes,
But
yes,
I
that'd
will
be
try it on
right.
RCA.
Yeah. Well, the RCA's got the other thing with the centrally mounted tweeter, so
That's right.
yeah, that might you might get balance issues.
Yeah. But I might try it on an RCA. But it sounds good on the Goodmans and the rollers and stuff.
Right. Okay.
And-
So that 12UX works quite well.
Oh,
doesn't
it's
it?
quite a decent speaker. Yeah. Mm.
Right. Okay. Oh, very good.
And the 2-ohm one is very nice if you put your ear in it.
I was going to ask you about that. That's the one you bought at the HRS.
Yeah, I think it's never been used. It's in
Yeah, it looks brand new. It's got that ribbing on it, which is a roller patented thing apparently.
and it's it got a reasonably good high frequency response. It's not too bad.
Okay. Oh, very good. It's got a whizzer cone, doesn't it, inside?
No, the 2-ohm one isn't. It's just a flat
not
cone.
the 2-ohm. No, yes, right. The 2-ohm one will go up to about 5K or something. I think.
But it's got the ripples like to separate the inner from the outer sort of thing.
Yeah,
like
that's
you
right.
used
They
to
do. Yeah. See, I use exactly the same in one of those ABC Type 2 boxes.
Right.
And with the AR88. And it just sounds fantastic. It sounds really, really good. It's really low and really... It's got a lot of weight in the sound.
Yeah.
And, it's quite a good system.
So the AR88 actually reproduces low audio, does it?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's got a great output transformer.
I always ran mine into a 8-inch thing that didn't do a lot for bass, and I always sort of assumed that because it was a communications receiver, they didn't go to much trouble for bass.
No, it's a 2-ohm output as well.
Oh, wow.
So you'd be losing a bit there.
Yeah, that's right.
But they should sound quite good.
They do. When David did those tests earlier on 160 when in AM, it just was the most incredible sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Terrific.
Yeah,
But,
well.
Yeah. Oh well, that's good. It's good to hear the latest. But it is a pity about the. It's just such a.
That's terrible, really.
Yeah.
It's a real Australian thing, isn't it? The cultural. It happens in this country that we just somehow lose sight of the value of things.
Value of things. It's just so stupid, though. I mean, as if they were saving money.
Pointless.
Pointless.
Yeah, what's the point? What's the point? Even the NFSA is now putting stuff up on YouTube in 4K and Now, all that Film Australia stuff is now, in the public domain. You could copy it. It's 4K. You could disseminate it if you wanted to.
Well, the thing is, it was made with public funds. They're government films. We paid for it.
Yes.
They weren't meant to be
true.
commercial, so why aren't they available? They're getting that way, but they should be available. Everything the ABC ever made should be available to the public for free.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. Now, in the instance of this silicon chip stuff, perhaps they could put a watermark on it if they're that fussed.
Well, they could.
But yeah, it just seems absolutely ridiculous that they go to that length and to withdraw it.
I've got
waste of energy.
I've got them all on CD. They're all on the hard drive in the computer, which I got off the original CDs before the site came up. The only reason I look at the site is because the reader thing won't work off the copies on the CD for some reason.
Oh, really?
But it will offline.
That's a nuisance. So does that limit you now with...
well, I have to work out why it just doesn't read off the thing.
Yeah.
The other thing, of course, if they take that to me replaying it, is actually a breach of copyright too. Obviously.
Well, yes. Technically it is, but that'll be another step into the abyss.
I might get a letter from Silicon Chip. Yeah. We always worried about getting a letter from the silver to get one from the silicon chip.
Silicon chip now, that's right. Yes. Yeah, that would be crazy. But I wonder if they're that litigious with stuff on YouTube. Well, not that
well, I tell you what, I see a YouTube item coming up about this.
Yeah.
And if they want
it's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean,
make a public statement.
All I'd be doing is making a public statement. It's not copyright, and as long as I don't use bad words, I can say what I like.
Yeah, of course. Especially if it's sort of espousing the virtues of the American Radio History site.
Yeah.
It's what a great resource it is, and just how disappointed you are that I think you could make a public statement. Yeah. What do you think about that, Frank?
Why not? Yeah, there's no reason not to. I was thinking of sort of going in the newspapers and all that sort of thing about it. I'm not sure that that's a good idea.
Well, I think you need to target the audience, which is be more likely on YouTube.
Well, that's right. That's the way to go, I think.
And the only printed thing that would, maybe Diode magazine and Silicon Chip, and of course they're not going to do anything about it.
No. There's no reason why you can't register a protest. I mean, you should.
Yeah, that's right. And we all know, okay, officially they got the copyright, but for pre-1960 stuff doesn't matter. We're looking at it's over 50 years old. It's 80 years old. Some of the stuff.
Yeah.
You'll go on.
Yeah. It's the spirit of the exercise. It's not. Look, if you took everything to the nth degree, we wouldn't have half our public utilities. So
you wouldn't. You wouldn't.
You could basically, underscore everything. But I think it's important to make.
It takes mean-spiritedness to a whole new level.
It does, absolutely. Frank, I think spot on.
I think it does. Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Yeah. No, it's disappointing. So it would be really because that was great. I've looked at it many times on the site.
Yeah.
And I also have a copy of the DVD.
It's quicker to just go online and look it up. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
But now we can't.
I suppose they want people to go to their website all the time and pay the. Yeah.
Pay the money. That's right.
Well, I think they're in a they're trying to make they're going to go broke probably, and this is just the last thing.
Well, it sounds like it might be a last hurrah.
Yeah.
These sort of it sounds a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just to put the energies into doing something like that makes you wonder what the health of the organisation is.
Yeah.
If it was running really well and everything was rosy, I don't think they would be making. Anyhow, that's an assumption. But I suppose if you just, the way to do it, I reckon, would be to look at the American History site and just basically advertise it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then say, well, at the end, there's it's just disappointing that one of our great Australian resources, which has been the subject of much of my hobby interests and so on, and many people, has been marginalised.
Yep. It's the biggest block of Australian technical articles in that site ever, and it's been removed.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
It is. Be interesting to get the full story from the guy, because you've contacted the guy before, haven't you? Who runs it? Didn't you give him a bit of a nod or something at one point? Or
no, I don't think so. I've read his stuff. He said he doesn't want. He doesn't want donations or whatever apart from making.
Because that's right. You were going to donate something to him.
Yeah, but he said he's obviously pretty well off, and it's just his hobby and his passion. Disseminating this information.
Well, it'd be nice to sort of give him a bit of moral support and say, look,
I could send an email to him,
just sort of say, oh, it's just such a pity, this is a great resource, and so, we'd like to try and prevent this sort of thing happening in the future. I wonder if he gets a whiff of any other movements. But as you said before, the potential for a groundswell is a worrying thing.
That's right. And also on copyright, I did a video on Nagasaki and used the butterfly of Nagasaki.
Oh, did they cut it?
No.
Did they?
No.
I actually saw that.
And there's not even a copyright notice.
Well, isn't it interesting? Because I played... No, it wasn't that piece. It was something else with the same singer. And I got a strike.
Is that right?
Really? Did you?
Well, it wasn't a full strike. It was just it was blocked in all countries,
right.
which is like the step before a strike, I think. I think if you get a strike, they actually send you an email saying you've got a strike. But what they did in this instance, they blocked it in all countries. So basically it nullified my log. So what I had to do was excise it, and then I was able to upload. So, but a recording from 1940 was
39.
crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yours was 1940. Yeah. Well, this one I didn't even get a the thing about what the music was from the copyright people, or I think it says copyright. Not a notice, but indication that you got copyright on a certain thing.
Yeah.
So maybe it was. A lot of it was not with background noise, but even so, it was. It was played about 3 times during it. So it's there would have been plenty of time to pick it up. So maybe it just hasn't.
No, I think you're fine with it. I watched the first part of it. I haven't got much data here, so I haven't been watching videos. Yeah. But it looks great. I watched the first couple of minutes of it.
Yeah, no, look, it's quite reasonably okay, I suppose. And, so you can be lucky.
I think it's really charming to have that music.
Oh, it's fantastic. It just goes with it so much, I don't know what the rest of the song's about, but it's fantastic.
I don't know what it's about.
And it's a lovely city. It's one of my favourite cities. It's just so scenic. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting to get an insight to. I don't know anything about. The first bits of the city, the downtown, then the historical part, then the atomic bomb museum and park, then a trip up to the mountain outside the city to overview it at night. So it's quite an interesting little travelogue. It's get about 3 hits, of course, but I put it up. Okay.
What the heck,
It's interesting. Henry was saying that when we got to Queensland, that he just keeps reminding him of Japan all the time. The mountains and the tropics.
Oh yes,
different vegetation. But he felt there was a strong resemblance. Yeah,
it's a bit like that. It's probably a bit hotter than Japan.
Yeah,
although Japan is sort of semi-tropical a bit down the south. Yeah. It can be quite hot.
So where is it in latitude equivalent to Australia?
I think Tokyo's about Melbourne.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 38 degrees, so it's...
right.
Yeah.
And we were speculating on that. We weren't sure, and I didn't have a map to check, but okay. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
And it's I think it's a bit hotter that part of the world, probably for currents or whatever, because we have cold currents down here.
Yes, we do.
And there's more land mass and stuff there.
Yeah.
But it's sort of, some of it is because it snows. The top, it just snows in Tokyo.
Yes,
it gets hot.
It's really on the mountains anyway.
And it gets really hot in summer. So it's sort of, I think the climate is probably less benign than ours down here, and they get earthquakes and tsunamis as well.
Yeah, it'd be terrible.
So it's a bit of a strange place as far as that. They've been on a tightrope for a long time.
Yeah,
it's just the way it is.
Do you get lots of pine trees there? Is it sort of spruces and sort of?
There is, but I don't know if they might have been planted or. See, it's been. Like people live there for so many millions of years that, or thousands.
Yes,
anyhow.
probably we don't know what's
natural and what isn't.
Yeah, I noticed that here in Queensland, this hoop pine, particularly.
Oh yeah, isn't that great stuff? The hoop pine. Yeah.
Yes, the hoop pines are just everywhere.
Yeah.
And so they're quite a interesting tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
the forest in Japan, you can see stuff that's obviously been planted or something, but
yeah.
What I could tell of the native forest, it's pretty diverse, bit rainforesty sort of stuff.
Yes.
It's fairly thick, and I think that's why once you go into it, you can't get through it. It's like impenetrable.
Yeah, I think that's probably the connection that Henry made was more on that level. Yeah, just the density of the forest.
Like there's either built up
lushness
land
of it.
or complete forest. There's no sort of in between like we just have scrubby stuff, but that's all gone and been paddy fields.
And he was saying the rice paddy fields reminded him of the sugar plantations here.
Yep. I can see that. And there's little mountains with trees everywhere just poking out.
Right.
That have escaped it.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just looking at Google Earth here. Queensland's like that when I'm looking at Tasmania. But anyway, everything looks the same from Google Earth.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Oh, well, when's the next fest? Is Ballarat Fest? Fest must be coming up pretty soon.
There's Yarra Glen, or whatever it is now.
Oh.
It's, I think, the 13th.
13th of October, is it?
Yeah.
Ah.
Then there's Ballarat a couple of weeks after that.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what's happening. I will.
So I think I'll probably go to Yarra Glen, then I'll go to Darwin that next weekend, and then Ballarat the weekend after.
And the Ballarat Fest after that.
So it's all worked out well.
Okay. Oh, very good.
There might be a fest in Darwin I can go to.
There might be too. Yeah. There probably some good. There used to be some good disposal stores in Darwin. From the
war
after the war.
Yeah. 52 sets of 3 BZ transmitters.
3 BZ. I'm going to have to get that 3 BZ working now because it's a.
Because they're a vibe set.
Yeah, they are. They've got a big vibe, and this one's really complete. I just got to get those bigger crystals, or just make up something to fit into those. It's got those World War II crystals, which are really large, and I just have to make up something to fit into those little spots.
Yeah.
But it'll probably work, and. And I've been reading about the Coast Watchers. That's one of the articles I brought down to read about, and some great Coast Watchers stories.
Oh, would have been.
It's amazing.
A terrible job. The Nippons about to blow them up every time.
Yeah, God, you wouldn't want to get caught. You'd be tortured.
No. The Nippons weren't. The Nippon Valley Sully. Many men must die. They're polite now, but they weren't polite then.
No, well, I suppose in times of conflict, it brings out the worst in every culture. Yes. But it's an amazing story, though. Just how these people existed in those tropical forests.
It'd be terrible, the humidity, the ants and the snakes biting you.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd have no infrastructure, nothing to...
Tropical waltzes.
Yeah,
there's a lot more bombing of the north than we imagined. I think there's a lot of, Darwin and and also in Queensland.
They tried to keep it quiet.
My
I was reading about that, Frank.
My father-in-law was up there at that time.
Is that right?
And he, even in his letters to his wife, which they've kept, there are veiled references to things being pretty ordinary and there being a lot going on, but. He didn't, partly not to worry his wife, I suppose, but also they weren't allowed, I think, to say very much.
Well, they didn't. If everyone knew that the north of Australia was being bombed by the Nippons, people would have panicked,
I think so.
Yeah, there was certainly bombings near Cairns, wasn't there, or up in the Atherton Tablelands areas?
That's right.
I was reading about that.
You go past, there's a monument, there's a bomb there.
There's a monument or a crater or something.
Yeah. So it's my parents built a bomb shelter in Brindley Road, and they
really.
Yeah, and. I have told the story before, but you may have missed it. Apparently, long before my time, of course, during the war, and there was the air raid siren was on the water tank tower at the Glenhuntly tram depot.
Yeah.
And apparently, one night it jammed on by mistake, And they thought, because they had gone through all the air raid precautions and put things on the windows, and they dug the air raid siren in the middle of winter, and anyway, they're having tea, and they came on, and they thought, probably after the announcement that Darwin had been bombed, I thought, well, this is it, this is a blitz here, you know, Mrs. Minerva's happening in Melbourne. And they all ran out into the thing,
shelter.
jumped in the shelter, water up to their necks, because, you know, they're just full of water down there, the water table's quite high.
Yeah,
and they sat there for half an hour shivering, and nothing happened, and they came out, and apparently there was an electrical fault in the alarm.
Oh, no.
What a knee-jerk reaction.
A lot better than having an air raid, though.
Much
Yes,
better.
absolutely. Yes, I would hate to have to live through an air raid. Imagine the terror.
Can you imagine, you'd hear them coming down, the whistling down, and like anyone could just end your life, and hear bang, 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 and the close ones and short ones and ones far away. And it's like that recording in Berlin, you know. I mean, they hear the bombs in the background. What happens if one lands in the concert hall? I mean, there must be...
I know.
You'd be panicking, shit, you know, I've got to get out of here.
Yeah,
but they didn't.
It
would be the most terrible thing.
Can you imagine playing?
Incredible they were able to perform as though nothing was going on.
Yeah.
And in the background they could hear bombs falling.
I know.
Well, it almost happened in the Queen's Hall, and London's best concert hall was the Queen's Hall.
That's right, yes.
And they just finished a concert. In fact, I think the concert was recorded. And then they all just left their instruments out for a rehearsal the next morning, and overnight the building was completely levelled.
Oh my God!
And there's photographs of all the burnt violins and everything.
Yeah, that's right. All the instruments are all charred.
Yeah,
wrecked.
violin
The whole
Stradivarius is wrecked.
Yes, that's right.
But luckily no one was in there, I don't think.
No, they'd all just left. And then the thing burnt down. It's like Wilson Hall at Melbourne Uni. They burnt down just after a concert, after a conservatorium concert.
Really? Must have been pretty hot music.
Yeah. Yes.
Didn't get much hot.
They all went home, and then the fire broke out and burnt the whole place. So,
Well, just as well the hall didn't get bombed when they were playing, I guess.
Oh, look, that's
thousands killed.
It would be terrible. Well, horrible things like that did happen, though, with that. Remember the bombs went down the tube stations?
Yes,
bounced
that's right.
down the escalators and blew up down underground.
The worst thing,
And it's really terrible things that just instantly killed hundreds of people in one moment.
I mean, an air raid would be terrible because you're sitting duck, and even an air raid shelter, a close by bomb's going to do you in anyhow.
Yeah.
And it would just be, you know, there. I've here one. Okay, we've survived that. The next one, and then you know, it just.
You'd just be waiting for the next thing and just waiting for it to drop.
Yeah.
And you'd be in that horrible suspended animation all the time, wouldn't you?
You would.
A sense of,
And that's probably
what an adrenaline rush. What a high alert scenario.
It would be, I suppose, exciting, but probably do mental damage. It's a bit like those wartime submarine movies when they're throwing depth charges, and they're sitting down there and the bombs are going and all the water's pouring out of the pipes and the meters and the lights go on and off. I don't know, they always go on and off. And the pipes burst and water comes out, and and you only need one. You think, well, it'd be terrible.
I know. Well, imagine a dam busting. Imagine that.
That would be the ultimate, wouldn't it?
Or like our friends in the bombers. Oh, I think we've scored a hit. Oh, okay, old.
Yes, tally ho, old boy.
Yeah.
Jolly good.
We're leaking hydraulic fluid here. I think we've been hit.
Say morning.
Oh, okay. Is that okay? Morning, Mr. Egg. Well, Mr. Egg, we're just signing off.
I just got home, but anyway, yes, I heard about Japan. I was in Japan for a year, just under. Now, the summer in Kyoto, which is about 300 miles south of Tokyo, summer is like a Brisbane summer, tropical, and very sticky. And winter, because it gets the winds off Siberia and it's really cold and it snows.
Is that right?
And I've been to Hiroshima, like you said.
Yep.
And I've been to a whole lot of places in Japan. I'd love to go there again. It's a fascinating country.
It certainly is.
So it'd be most entertaining to go there.
Did you take many photos, Mr. Egg, when you were there?
I did when I've lost most of them now because I was 13 years old when I was there.
Oh, okay, sure. Wow, that's exciting. Did you go to school for a whole year there?
I went there for a few months to see what it was like.
And did you learn any Nipponese?
I did, but I've forgotten it.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's right. Yes, because Tokyo was totally razed in the war.
Well, that's some of those cities, they flattened just as much with carpet bombing as the atomic bomb did on Hiroshima, and they also killed just as many people, according to my father, who was in intelligence, and he was in the occupation after the bomb was dropped and all that.
Oh, that's exactly right. Yeah, they did just as much damage, but I think
same in Korea as well.
It's just that it happened in weeks rather than a microsecond.
That's it. It was a different sort of accelerated form of killing.
It was just like a total flash annihilation.
And then there was the knowledge that they could do it again and again. Look, I'm Mr. Egg. It's got nothing to do with you just joining in, but I'm fading fast, and it's after 2 o'clock.
Oh, it's after 2 o'clock.
So I'm going to drop off and wish everybody a good week.
Okay, well, hopefully see you maybe next week or whatever there, Frank.
Should be okay, Dave.
Okay.
Yeah, great to chat, Frank. And
Indeed,
look forward to. I'll be back on board next Friday, so hopefully we'll chat then, all being well.
It sounds wonderful. Okay, but enjoy the rest of your time there.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. All the best.
And you.
Cheers.
And goodbye, Mr. Egg.
Okay, good there, Frank. Yes, and I was going to say hello to you at the luncheon after you made the comment about the traffic lights and the beepers and all that, and which was most entertaining, and somehow I didn't get to talk to everyone. It was quite an interesting talk, though.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
And, yes.
So to get what you had to get done, what you had to do afterwards?
Unfortunately, Nigel put the wrong SD card in there. I thought I had a 16 gig one in there, and he'd gone and put the old 2, and so it ran out after 44 minutes, which was a big nuisance.
Oh, well, not to worry. Yeah.
Okay, well, look, gentlemen, I'm going to probably have to head back after 2.
Steve's in Magnetic Island. Did you know that?
Is that where you are? So how magnetic is it? Do things stick to the island?
Yeah, I haven't been magnetroned yet. It's okay. I'm being pulled in all directions.
Do compasses go funny when you're there or something?
Yeah, apparently that's what happened to Mr. Cook.
Yes. I thought there was a story like that. That's what I'd heard.
Yes, and he first saw Magnetic Island, I think, in 1770 or something, and he had bad compass issues, but whether or not they're associated with the island, I don't know if it's been verified. Lots of potoroos here. Everywhere I look, I reckon there's 100 of them. They're everywhere. They're keeping the grass low. Little tiny kangaroos.
Well, it's good we've had a live missions from there. The 817.
Well, it's good to try it further afield. It does test out talky, and I'm pleased it settled down.
Yeah, I wonder what the problem was.
Yeah, no, it's weird, isn't it? Maybe just getting out in the open away from the house helped. But
yeah, it could be.
Yeah, it's been nice. It's been sitting down on the beach, but I'm just walking back now, and beautiful night.
Yes, that sounds most funny. So what's the weather like at Magnetic Island?
Oh, it's pretty warm, John. Yeah, it's.
That's a fair way up north, isn't it?
It is. It's just out from Townsville, about 24 degrees, 25
So that's why
now.
you couldn't have your QM missions last night, because you weren't there to put them on.
No, but Dave put on some, he did something else, put some material to keep the...
yeah, I forgot to listen last night again.
The frequency
going.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll give regards to Kate and the kids and everything.
Yeah, we'll do, and thank you. And it's been a great mission, it's enjoyable. And all the best to Mr. Egg. We'll catch up with you in due course.
Yeah.
Right, we'll have a good holiday there, and good to finally catch a bit of the missions. And
we'll do. I'll catch up probably next week. So thanks, gentlemen. All the best.
Okay.
VK3SL.
Morning.
Morning.
Now clear, and catch up soon. Bye now.
Bye. Okay, well... that's good. That talkie worked really well. Yeah. So, so you've been out all night, John?
Well, yes, that's right. Just got home before.
Ah, right. Yeah. I'll just check.
And I thought New Beck was there in the car, or did I mishear?
No, New Beck hasn't been on. We've had talkie up, but he's...
oh, yeah, fair enough.
He must have been in a drain walk or something.
Be amusing to do a more modern take on the tunnel missions from one of those.
It would be, wouldn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it certainly would be. Yeah. So anyway, that's what's a big night on the line there. So no one else tended to come up apart from Frank and Steve. So. So we'll probably see you at Yarra Glen.
I'm not sure, unless someone picks me up where I have money to go to Yarra Glen at the moment, but I'll be going to Ballarat with Anthony.
Right, okay. Yeah, I'd like to catch up with Anthony. I'd always good to do, see what he's up to. But hopefully we'll see him at Ballarat. Yeah. Okay, well, we might say morning and catch up next week if you're up a bit earlier or whatever.
Yeah, okay. I keep forgetting Frank's call sign.
JR. 3JR.
Yes, having my little record as to the missions tonight, yes.
Oh, good.
Just so I know what was on, yes. All quite tiny.
Okay. Well, we might just close down. I think it's 2 o'clock. I'll just check the SDR, see if anyone else is on these airs, these bands. I think they've been pretty. No one's on at all at the moment. I wasn't when I checked last time, a few hours back. So.
Well, next week there will be. Is it next week? Daylight saving will be coming on.
Is it next week? I'll have to adjust my time clocks.
That's right. It'll happen on the 6th of October.
Right, okay. So then it's almost summer.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, doesn't feel like summer now.
Well, at least with the weather how it is now, you can go for long walks, whereas in summer it's terrible, it's too hot.
I know, I don't like hot weather.
No, I find it terrible, and you just don't feel like doing anything.
No, that's right. Feel less like doing anything than when it's cold.
Well, at least when it's cold, you can get stuck into things and work hard, and it'll keep you warm.
That's right, yes. 1868.
Do you have a 1988 call book anywhere?
I don't think so. I might have a 1978.
No, I've just been trying to look up something, and I've got a 1987, but I don't have a 1988.
No, I don't think I have.
I've sort of been trying to collect them so I can look things up as to what things were on given years, and that's the one that's missing for what I want to look up.
Oh, well, you might find one somewhere at a Hamfest or whatever.
Yeah, I was looking before. Well, if somebody can come past my place and give me a lift to Yarra Valley on the 13th, I'll probably come along. But we'll see what can happen.
There might be someone listening who could give you a little lift who lives up that way.
Oh, you might be able to.
Well, I might. I might not either. Yeah.
We'll see what happens when we get closer. It's a couple of weeks off anyway.
That's right.
I just don't think I'm going to have any real money at the moment to spend there.
Oh. Well, you can just come for the social event. It's not far. It's only.
That's right.
From you, it's not far, is it?
It depends on the months even for fuel, because things are a bit tight at the moment.
All right. Okay. Okay. With that, I think we might sign off.
Right, we'll say morning. Good to at least get on for a little bit.
Well, that's right.
Catch you later on.
Okay. Well, cheerio. We're not even going to have any.
VK3EGG signing clear, and hoping everybody's enjoyed the builds for tonight, and might hear it again sometime in the morning, afternoon, daytime, whenever it's on.
That's right. Okay, we'll sign off. We won't even have any music or anything, but I think we've gone so long. So, VK3ASE clear of 3670 kilohertz.
Morning.
Morning, 1868 kilohertz FM. And 147.47 megahertz VHF. We say morning, daytime and night.